guest links in the chat already. Thank you, Danielle. Welcome in, Make Mistakes. Thanks for joining us.
Make
right
mistakes.
Off the top. I love
What's
the
up?
energy. All right, let me turn this music off now. See, this is the next step I have to work out. There we go. Okay. That's going to be part of my new ritual. Oh my goodness. Van Galen, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome in. So excited for today's stream. So today is what we call Synth Friends, where we take people we've met on the internet but have never talked to or met in real life and bring them on our stream to talk to them in front of you so that we can all get to know each other like we're at a bar having like a happy hour night.
That reminds me of the time we crossed the Canadian border.
It does?
Yeah, because you were like, actually don't know why.
Because we were meeting friends from the internet. It was because of
yes,
internet friends.
Thank you. That's what I
It
was
was our
getting
first instance of, we were using couch surfing. Do you guys remember couch surfing? Is that still, I imagine
Oh my
that's not a
gosh,
thing
yeah.
anymore, but.
I was actually like hoping you would pick up the story. So
Oh, I'm so glad. Also, cheers.
Whatever I did to make that happen, I did the right thing.
There's people on the internet. I want to have such a quippy thing to say back to you right now, Danielle, but I don't. Internet friends are real friends. Exactly. LL, cool. Welcome in. Thank you for the follow.
Yay.
I know you. Welcome in. So we're going to have a fellow Twitch streamer / experimental gearhead, I guess you would say. I know nobody likes to be called a gearhead because it has that connotation that you just have gas all the time and you just want to spend all your money on gear. But what we mean is somebody who likes to like touch physical things and bust them open and cut wires and all that kind of stuff.
Not afraid to go inside the machine.
Yeah. Hello, Coolib. Welcome in. Yes. All right. So the Killer Bee Relay Team is the name of. See, we're already. Oh, this is already off the top. It's already getting crazy. I knew this was going to happen. Crawl Space, thank you so much for the 6-month subs. That's insane. Can you believe we've known each other that long? Virtually and in reality. Exactly. So this is our favorite thing about Synth Friends is everybody's coming at it from like a different platform, but we're all meeting here on Twitch to like let everybody know how cool Twitch is, basically.
I mean, it's a cool platform.
It is the best. We all already know that though. Yes, welcome in all our new friends already. And that amazing resub. That was awesome. So what was I even saying? I don't even know. I guess I was talking about our guest. His name is Mike. His channel is the Killer Bee Relay Team. If you use the command guest, that's where you're going to get all his links today in the chat. So anytime you're curious, you know, the command guest is going to get you his information. Yes, Van Galen knows what's up. So that's going to be, we got Instagram, YouTube, and Spotify, but obviously we can directly give them a shout out, right? Right, Danielle? Because they're a Twitch streamer, so you make sure you're following them on Twitch, obviously. So we're going to bring Mike in just in a moment here. But before I do, I want to make sure that I let you know our current mission is that we have this slight issue going on, and we're on a mission to solve this problem. So we need your help if you come across it. We recently changed our name on Twitch from Galaxy Electric or some sort of version of that condensed to the Galaxy Electric. That name became available and we were able to snag it right when everybody was like, hey, you should change your name.
Yeah, we did.
So what that means is like everywhere that I've put the link to our Twitch, it's the old link. And every day I'm like finding it, you know, trying to catch them all. It's like our favorite game. Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go, find the links that don't work anymore. Oh god, that was really fun to say. So yeah, that's our current mission. If you can help us with that, I'd really appreciate it. If you come across a place where you see our Twitch link and it's leading you to a page that says retry or this doesn't exist, that's our old name. Unfortunately, it didn't port over. I wish there was a redirect for it, but I think we can catch it. So just give us a shout out if you see that anywhere so that I can find all the places that I put that or that it exists. So thank you so much. Thank you all for being here. We are really excited to bring Mike in and we are going to do that right now. So let me boot up the transponder.
Saving the enthusiasm for the real deal
here. Yeah. This is what we're really excited about. Let's be real about this. So let me make sure that our transmission's coming through, beaming from spaceship to spaceship here tonight.
I read you loud and clear.
Wonderful. Okay.
Hey.
Welcome, Mike.
Hey, great to be here.
We're going to do a shout out if we can. Is it Killer Bee or the Killer Bee? It's the Killer Bee.
It's the Killer Bee.
As a you know, I feel you on that.
You have to make the name as long as possible, otherwise people won't remember it.
If there isn't a the, you don't get that sort of feeling that this could be like library music.
You could be any Galaxy Electric for all I know.
Yay, we got the shout out in the chat. Awesome. Thank you,
so
LL
funny.
Cool Lib.
It's a library music thing.
It's a library music thing, I think. It's sort of like a hauntology, retrofuturism, library music. That whole thing.
Also 60s bands.
Yeah.
It's big in the 60s and probably the 50s as well.
No, that's actually not to like just jump right into a conversation because we already had a pre-chat, so I'm like ready to go.
Yeah, let's go.
There's this whole thing in like the 60s bands where like somebody would have a Peaches or the Peaches because you know like having the simplest band names in the 60s, but they would have these things because there would be disputes with the record labels because like obviously record labels were all there was, so like anything that occurred with like a band name or the way it was pressed or put out or whatever, it was like there was a record label dispute involved. Someone was trying to get out of their contract. Somebody was trying to make money off of something they didn't really own. Mm-hmm. That's what I always think about. So that's a perfect segue to say, I think that's why we're all here on Twitch as musicians.
Yes.
Wait, so is
because there is no record industry. We don't care about it.
Is the like the original official, you know, like band name official? It's like the official.
Oh, you mean like on
like the signifies
your verified
like,
badge.
You know, the Peaches. It's not just Peaches. It's like this is
which
the
one's
Peaches,
the real
or
band?
Peaches official would be like the modern way of like saying the same thing.
I'm glad we circled back to that again, just to make sure we got it straight for everybody. I think that was really key. Welcome in, Mike. The Killer Bee Relay Team is your Twitch stream. It's also like, is it a project identity or a artist name? Yeah.
It started off as an internet identity and a message board, and just became like everything that I did. I just put that name on it. So now everything that I do, I'll put that name on it.
I love that. Well, it's such a good name.
Thank you.
I want to know more about it. Do you want to talk to us more about your name?
People always ask, and I wish it was a more exciting.
Sorry,
more
there's a
story,
peach on your mouth right now. Let's wait for the peach to dissolve. Okay, here we go.
Ye old mouth peach. So years and years ago, I was active on a website called Acid Planet, which was for people who use that Sony software Acid. We're talking early 2000s.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
And
you've just hit our nostalgia bones so hard.
Oh yeah. So it was just hanging out on the forums there, joking about killer bees and how one killer bee can chase you for a quarter mile, but a relay team of 4 killer bees could chase you for a full mile. So I changed my name to the Killer Bee Relay Team and never changed it back. And that was 20 years ago. And here we are.
Amazing. That was worth, waiting for the peach to dissolve. That was a great story. I loved it.
And I feel like it kind of captures the idea of a whole bunch of buzzing things attached together to work as some sort of unit, which generally anything that I'm doing could fall under that category.
That must be why, it resonates so much when you see it, you hear it, you say it, and you experience what you're doing. It's like, yeah, that's exactly what's going on.
Yeah, what else would I call it?
It makes perfect sense when you're there. So I see maybe we will get a little more detail as we go throughout the stream about what's behind you. Because that's these are the obvious things. We got to get them out of the way. Talk about your name. Tell us about your gear.
Yeah. So I'm one of those DAW-less people. I really don't like using a computer for creative things. I get sucked out of it. I'm in a web browser, or I'm just digging through presets for hours and not actually creating anything. So I work with all hardware. I have a small modular rack and a whole bunch of, as you can see behind me, MIDI connected gear. I used some Roland stuff, some Arturia stuff, a whole bunch of mixed up stuff in the modular. Old stuff, new stuff. I've been doing this for a while, so I've got kind of a little bit of a collection there behind me.
Yeah, so you've mentioned you've been doing this a while, so we want to get to your synth origin story.
Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, I've kind of always been a fan of electronic music, even without knowing.
In the womb, you were like,
Oh yeah, like I came out of the womb listening to Yes.
Nice.
Like I'm like, oh, big keyboard solos, I'm here for it. And then in the early '90s, I had a friend who had a tracker program on his computer, and we went over there. We pulled a whole bunch of sounds off of like basically video game CDs that had wave files on them, and we started making our own music. And then I found a drum machine at a yard sale, and it was just all downhill from there. I'm a drummer myself, since I was a kid, and then I'm like, oh, here's this electronic version of drumming that I can do at night, in a room without needing a bunch of people and space and everything that goes along with it. And then it just snowballed from there.
That makes perfect sense.
So then what you see behind me
is the evolution.
Evolution. Do you still have a tracker?
What's that?
I said, do you still have a tracker?
I don't. You do see a polyend behind me. That's the polyend play.
Okay.
I tried actually running Messiah on a Commodore 64 for a while, and I couldn't do it. I'm so used. Even working with a tracker was too computery for me at this point, and it just didn't click. Even though there's that nostalgic element there.
That makes sense. Totally.
It looks like it did when I was on my friend's borrowed 386. Old stuff.
Yeah. We have sort of like nostalgia cycles that we go through with music, and like sometimes when you're reaching for inspiration, you'll find yourself back at something that you felt like anchored in years ago as a like starting point again.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I still have a soft spot for the 90s industrial music, which is really what got me into electronic music. And then of course the same stuff
that's
that
the
makes
real
everyone
answer.
into electronic music. Like the old Wendy Carlos stuff. I remember finding my first switched on Bach record at Goodwill for $1, taking it home and putting it on and being like, what is this? And that just making the whole desire for this gear and these machines that are making this music even stronger. Because I am a gearhead and I do have bad gas. I'll admit it.
He heard it.
I try to keep it in check as best I can. And try to keep music in, music out thing.
I was gonna say it's very productive, guys.
I try to keep it productive.
Productive gas. I mean, that's a thing, like sometimes
I like to think of us as in that category, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's even it's great to make music with it. A lot of people just kind of collect the things as an investment or a hobby, and that's fine too. Just to appreciate a synthesizer for the piece of machinery that it is. But
for sure,
it's a lot better when you use it.
Heck yeah. There's definitely different categories, and like we talk a lot about how we're like in this not weird, but exciting, unexpected moment of like synth explosion. So now there's like all of these categories of types of people who are into synths when like that wasn't a thing. Like if you're like trying to preserve or archive old synths that aren't made anymore versus stuff you want to use, things you're trying to find at thrift stores. Like there's so many categories because of the lifespan that they've had at this point.
Right. Yeah. You have, 50s and 60s era, really early stuff. And then 80s and even 90s stuff now is considered vintage. And, you're finding that pop up at thrift stores. I am obsessed with what many people say is the worst drum machine Roland ever released, the TR-505, the 80s drum machine. Like, it's all coming back. It's pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, that drum machine is a classic in its own right, I would say, but I feel like it was more popular for like 90s electronic music, like dance music artists to like sample and have as part of their, arsenal of drum sounds that they would maybe slide in like a few sounds one off with basically like 909s and like custom kits they put together.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot you can do with it. It's very rigid. It's like
Yeah.
these are the sounds. This is the grid. You can't really do a whole lot. But then
The
once
drum
you start
machine
to
itself.
crack one open
Mhm.
and mess around with the guts, you can do a lot of really fun stuff with it.
Yeah, tell us more about maybe like you can talk about any of that type of stuff that you do, but I love specifically talking about like what did you do to the TR-505s?
Yeah, like
I've been working on that forever.
Okay, cool.
That was my first drum machine, the one that I got at a yard sale.
Okay, there's so I knew I was like this is
It was
the
$5
moment.
and it quote didn't work. And that's so much of what I
This
do,
is a pro
and so much
tip,
of what
right?
I've-
Like when you're thrifting and it says doesn't work, get it.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
You find,
Every time.
You find,
Yeah.
And whatever you can find, you're at the flea market, the thrift store, wherever. Oh, it's got a scuff on it. Oh, that key's a little cracked, and learn how to fix it. And that's really where I picked up all of my knowledge, is finding these broken things on the curb and at thrift stores. Having a friend who says, I have this DX. It doesn't work. I don't know what's wrong with it. Here, just take it.
Just take it.
Right.
Yes.
And, just being that guy who could fix stuff.
Exactly.
So with that, I've spent years trying to fix. This is getting really deep into the TR-505.
I love it.
But
Yeah,
the display
go for
looks
it.
like crap. There's something that happens with UV exposure that makes it go really dark and you can't read it. So I've spent the past 15 years at this point developing a backlight kit to make it so that you can actually use the drum machine. On top of that, I've been circuit bending them the whole time, creating things that change the sample rate, just glitch out the patterns, the drum sounds, give it individual outputs. I'm working on a kit right now that'll let you use as a sequencer for a modular synth. Even samples from Mars sampled my drum machine for their circuit bent TR-505.
Oh, sweet.
Oh yeah, I have that.
Love that. You have
That's a picture of one of my drum machines.
Oh my god.
Cool. Yeah,
That's
I use those
amazing.
samples sometimes, but a lot of times I'll resample them into my MPC 60 because I like.
You're like sometimes people might just take the samples. You're like talking about yourself.
Of course, yeah.
That's
I mean,
amazing.
Oh yeah.
but I'll resample it into the MPC 60 to get a little bit of like crunch and like just hit the preamp on it.
Nice.
And
yeah, I think it was very flattering when I shipped him the drum machine. I'm like, wait, shipping to samples? I think I know what's happening here. Tried to do some sort of cross promotion thing. They weren't really keen on it, which I get. Oh, you're sampling this thing. Well, you know where you can get a real one, right?
Right. That would be counterproductive for
But
them.
still super flattering. And I love that you'll use those samples too, because it is a drum machine that it's limited, but it has some good, there's some good stuff in there. You just got to dig for it.
Yeah.
I feel like we should have just gotten like a double up, triple life score for like that connection that just happened with like you made the samples that we use.
Well,
we didn't know that.
It's gonna make
or like
me.
not you made them. But
It's gonna
from your
make me
machine.
dig into that folder more. Ooh.
Oh.
Nice. I hope everybody can dig into that folder.
Heck yeah.
I love that thing that happens with most electronic music. I know particularly the DJ sector can be very competitive and kind of cutthroat, but what I found particularly on Twitch with synth people is that we all just want to share everything. We want to share our knowledge, we want to share our recordings, we want to share our samples, we want to share our problems that we're having.
Maybe
We
that's
wanna
what it's
share
really
Our
about.
ideas.
Is there
it's
like,
pretty
well,
great.
maybe we should share some good stuff too.
Right.
And not just like, this isn't working. Who has this? Oh, okay. We've got some love in the chat, so let's just take a chat.
Oh, what's
chat
up?
moment.
Chat moment.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
officially hi to all of my people from the Hive. I see Make Mistakes is in there. LL Cool Lib, hello. Van Galen, who is the other half of my band, Thick Wickens.
Yes.
Hello to
welcome in.
him. I see Groggle in there. Oh, everybody's here. Hey, everybody.
Yeah, your crew has shown up.
Yeah, that wine's got a bit of an aftertaste for me.
Ooh,
So
Not
you
always
just
a good
keep
one.
drinking it, you get no aftertaste.
Bees
Exactly.
ruined my life by introducing me to synths. Grogoyle, welcome in. Yeah, welcome to the club.
Hey, I do that to people. We'll get to talking about stuff. I'll help them into a gateway synth.
Yes.
What is the
I've
gateway synth
encouraged-
you usually go for?
The Micro Freak.
Okay.
I think it gives you a really wide array of sounds. It has a built-in sequencer. Arturia is really good about software updates and firmware and sending out patches and
That is so
developing their
key.
stuff.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then it has those 3 little CV outputs that make it a gateway into any sort of modular or semi-modular or whatever.
Right.
So
sorry for
and
the emote explosion, but welcome in, Grow Gold. Thanks for the follow.
I didn't know
Yeah,
it had
it has-
CV outs. That's cool.
it has a pitch output, a pressure output, and a gate output.
Nice.
And I really like though that conductive keybed kind of Buchla style keyboard. I know a lot of people don't like it. I'm not a keyboard player.
Oh.
So for me, I just think it's kind of a cool, a different feel for playing. But if I played keyboards, like as a drummer, I know when I play electronic drum kits, it makes me want to pull my remaining hair out. It's terrible.
That makes so much sense. I'm glad you brought that up. Because you're not a keys player either.
Yeah, I mean, like I've taken a couple basic like keyboarding, courses and like in school, but like that was it. Like
Right.
I definitely am not a player, but I have like a couple keyboards. But
Not that you don't rip on the keys. You wouldn't say you're a keys player. That's not like your origins.
Right, definitely not. More of a bass player, but
strings.
like
keys.
when it comes to synths, like I pretty much only have like touch plates and sequencers. Like I don't necessarily I avoid keys on the synth, I would say.
I keep going more and more in that direction. I had a KeyStep Pro that I used for a while as the brains for everything, but it was just too keyboardy. Like this is a keyboard. I don't want to play the keyboard. I want to play the synthesizer.
Yeah.
Which brings it into the whole joke where you tell people you play the synthesizer and they're like, "Oh, play me a song." And you're like, "Oh, that's not really how it works."
Yeah.
No, I love this like nuanced conversation about like controllers and keyboards and touch plates, because like that is like a whole category of like it's so important. Like how you're interfacing with what you're doing, and like I just remember like the early 2000s was all about like who had the best feeling fake keys and like how much velocity control they had and like
hammer action.
It's like it was like the keys touch wars, like the controller wars.
The price points were like really based solely on like the how the keys felt basically. It was like the semi-weighted
or how
versus
the pads
fully
felt,
weighted,
and
actual ivory.
Yeah.
Or were they
not
ivory, but like but ivory like weighted.
We do not condone the poaching of ivory, okay?
Whalebone, unfair trade keys. It's the emotional weight that makes them heavy enough to play.
Exactly.
I mean, should I out myself?
I wouldn't.
Okay.
Oh, wow. I think you can't say that.
I just thought that was a funny response.
I'm leaving.
Should I out myself? No. Okay, next thing.
Sorry. There's a piano in my family that has real ivory keys, and that's what I grew up playing, and that's like my first instrument. Like I didn't know that everybody didn't have ivory keys.
The marrow is on your hands.
It is. It's totally on me. I'm so sorry.
But even talking about
we felt bad about it.
You can feel bad about it. You didn't know.
It was like reuse, reduce, recycle. Like we were passing it down.
It's been in the family for a long
I feel
time.
bad now. I want to take it back.
Yeah, I'm trying to help you out here.
Reassemble a whale out of it.
I know. I don't personally have it in my life, so it could be anywhere at this point. Woo! Okay, it seems like we got a lot of love for the animal bones in the chat, so thank you, everybody.
That said, have I told you guys how much I like surfing in the ocean?
Anyway, okay. Whew, I got this. We're talking about synths.
Yeah, we're talking about the interfacing. And even, you have people developing things like isomorphic keyboards, like on the Deluge, and a couple of other things where it's not even your standard piano format anymore.
Exactly.
Everything's a different shape. And I really think that
Wendy Carlos' dream come true, Yeah. She was all about the microtone.
And there's some Brian Eno quote about sequencers removing the need for skill and just leaving the need for judgment. And I think that's great. Yeah, because that's what a lot of electronic musicians, you're not really playing as much as you are programming sometimes, and it's kind of interesting to think of it as more of a logic and a judgment thing of pointing everybody in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
That's so true. We've talked about that on our channel before with other synth friends when we're talking about like kind of getting started with patching, getting started with modular, getting started with this like whole different mentality of how you approach crafting your sound.
It can be really daunting, especially people who come from traditional musical background.
Right, exactly.
Expect a lot of rigidity. I coming from a drummer's background, that's a lot of people would argue it's tangentially related to music. I've heard every drummer joke in the book, so I'm ready for it. But it comes from a less rigid place. There, it's more based on rhythm than tone, more based on feel than fact, I guess. So I think that's what made it easier for me to get into it, at least.
Yeah, I was gonna say when we were talking about that earlier in terms of like entry points, being a drummer is like one of my personal favorite entry points for people. I've seen really interesting electronic music from people who started from drums.
If I had it to do over again, that would be my first
Maybe
choice.
I'm just like,
no,
that's
seriously.
what I would choose. Yeah. Hayes concurs as a drummer.
Because if I had to do it over again, I'd learn to play guitar or piano or some sort of
so we're all just feeling our own like other thing. Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
That makes perfect sense. But I do love that you when we talk about like programming and interfacing, you're actually doing that from a lot of different points within your system.
Yeah, that's my whole setup is set up. How many times can I say set up in one sentence?
No, everybody has to take a shot from
so
the
I've
setup.
set up my whole setup so that it's set up around a setup, which is set up to move MIDI signals in kind of a circle.
Perfect.
I use MRCC, MIDI Routing Control Center, which is on paper the most boring piece of gear you'll ever encounter. I don't know if you're familiar with
That's real gas right there.
I'm not actually familiar with it, and I'm pretty like I get into MIDI gear, so that's interesting.
Okay.
I never heard
so
of
you may be into this. It's right there. And it's basically a box with a bunch of MIDI inputs and a bunch of MIDI outputs. And it acts as a filter and a patch bay. So I take my clock signal from my drum machine and I send only that clock signal out to everything else in my rig. It acts as both a USB host and a USB device. So you can run everything to your computer with it, but you can also plug in a USB keyboard through the USB port and play it. What I mostly use it for is that I can get a sequence going on one piece of gear and then move it around to other pieces of gear. It allows me to take the poly end play, send multiple output channels from it, and then route all of those channels individually to individual pieces of gear so that it just automatically knows, like, oh, channel 5 is the SH-101 clone, and automatically sets it up. So if you have a really MIDI heavy setup, it seems kind of crazy to spend a few $100s on a box that's just for you to plug all of your MIDI cables into, which you now need to buy twice as many of.
Right, that's always the catch.
My advice would be go back in time and back it on Kickstarter when it was like a third of that price.
Gosh.
But it's a really cool way to kind of have a very static setup, because you see people on Instagram and YouTube with these beautiful shots of like 3 pieces of gear on the table and they're playing something. And I'm
who's
like,
actually living this way?
How can you just like take that and then set it up and then go put it, like how many hours do you spend breaking things down and setting things back up again? It's good to have a setup like this where you can just step into it and do everything with it. Yeah. You don't have to worry about prepping.
Yeah, I mean,
We're speaking
or save the prepping for actual like prepping samples and like things for your set or whatever, like sounds, like getting stuff going.
Creative things.
Yeah, exactly.
Things. We talk about this all the time because like you sometimes can feel that internal pressure of like, I know the algorithm wants me to do that. And I don't want to care, but I have my weak moments where I'm like, logically, I know that if I took 3 pieces of gear and a plant and put it in a photo, like the algorithm would be very happy with me. The overlords would say, bless you.
Mm-hmm.
But like,
I'm sure
I would have to fucking uncable everything and cable it back up every single. I can't live that way.
Not that we haven't done it.
Not that I haven't done it. Like I have to find like a bigger purpose. Like it has to be like a performance thing or a recording thing or something, you know?
I am falling prey to it.
Oh no,
if
no
you've seen in
judgment.
some of my past streams, I stream outdoors with my modular sometimes, and I'll set up a generative modular patch that through various devices interfaces with sunlight, plants, soil temperature, all of that
so
sort
cool.
of thing to kind of affect what's going on in the synth.
Yes.
And I just do it for the likes. That's the only
Just
reason.
do it for the
I
likes.
don't enjoy a moment of it.
I love it.
It would have gotten a like out of me.
So what I wanted to say is I love this because I just used the guess command and nothing happened. So Danielle, did I do something wrong? But I was just gonna say I wanted to throw your link in the chat because I'm in this feedback loop that you're talking about now, where like I found your Instagram because I know you on Twitch and I connect in those places, right? But then I got lost on your page for a while because of the squirrels. Like, you're right. It wants you to do that because I want to see that. Like, what's wrong with me? I'm feeding into the algorithm gods.
Everybody loves the squirrels. And that came from, I had done maybe half a dozen streams where I would just set my synth in the garden and it would interface with the plants. And it was pretty cool, but then squirrels started walking through, and I thought there has to be some way for me to encourage them to interact with this. So we did a few different things. One is that I have a drum sequencer that's kind of set up on a grid, and I'll just sprinkle sunflower seeds on it, and the squirrel will come and run across and press keys to set up a drum sequence. Delptronics makes a module that lets you plug a Wii nunchuck into a synth and use it to control all kinds of signals based on tilts and the buttons that are pressed.
Rad.
So I got one of those and did what anyone would do and smear it with peanut butter and put it on a stick and let the squirrels, pull the joysticks and change delay signals. And then
that's so cool.
What anyone
one of the
would
little
do.
what anyone would do, right? I mean, you see a Wiimote, what's your first thought? Smear it with peanut butter. And then the last thing that I use is a little box that I created. I have one around here somewhere called Honey, which uses solar power to generate a control voltage signal you can plug into any modular synthesizer. So I'll set one of those and put some treats around it so that a squirrel will knock it around or stand on top of it and block the sunlight. That sort of thing.
That
and
is so
people
rad.
really love the squirrels. I'm working on, hopefully, once it's a little bit warmer here, some more, take the synth out to the woods and see what happens if we hook it up to some ferns, kind of remote streams, if I can get it working. Fingers crossed.
That is, can we talk about, like, you're letting squirrels walk on your gear?
Yeah, we can talk about it.
Can we talk about it? I'm getting anxiety.
Definitely risky. I go into it with the hope that if I lose a module in my synth, that maybe it'll become a meme and hopefully people will feel compelled to toss me $1 or $2 so that I can replace it.
This is a fun game you're playing.
It's risky. I do all this. This is my full-time gig these days, so
Congrats.
It's risky. Thanks. Long story short, my last job decided it wasn't a job anymore, and I decided I'm going to do this.
Okay.
And it's going well so far.
I'm really glad to hear
But
that.
That's really cool.
But I always, my modular synth is built into a vintage suitcase.
I saw that.
One of my favorite projects that I did. It's like a 1950s Samsonite. And I put some rails in it and set it up with the power supply, and it fits into an overhead storage compartment. So I was able to take it to NobCon. I was able to get it through airport security.
That's so smart.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But that allows me to pick it up.
They didn't think it was a bomb.
They definitely asked questions. I was able to snag a picture of it going through the X-ray. So I have a nice X-ray picture of my modular.
Oh, I need
but
to see
they were
that.
definitely like, what is this? And I'm like, it's a synthesizer. Please don't ask me to use it because my cables are in my check bag.
That will become a whole other thing.
I can't really prove it, but Trust me on
it
this one.
does produce
I
sound.
can show you some videos of me making sounds.
That's true. That's
There you go.
really why we're creating all this content, obviously.
Right.
Yeah,
Just
for
so we
proof.
can get through airport security once we fly every half a decade or so.
Half a decade, yes.
But I make sure it's not going to rain. I wipe it down with alcohol wipes before and after.
Oh wow.
It's a real tight ship, so there's not a lot of space for things to fall in. But whatever falls in, I can just shake it out. But people don't. To my knowledge, there's been no squirrel urine or feces inside any of my gear. If you're buying any of it secondhand on Reverb, I say it comes from a smoke-free studio.
Sorry to
I do
blow
not
up
say
your
that it's
spot.
free of squirrel feces.
I didn't mean to blow up your spot on Reverb. Whoa, Yapo is rating us with 16
Hey,
people.
Yapo.
What? Hey. Oh,
What's up?
this is gonna get wild. Okay. Welcome in. Shout out. Let's go. Party time. Oh, all the friends are here. This is awesome.
You heard
Mr.
me talking
Ed.
about going to NobCon with my synths.
You conjured this. This is when
Yeah,
this happened.
We, your opponent and I, with other people, had some great late night jams there last year.
Oh, that's so awesome. So we live pretty close by, but we couldn't make it last year, and it was such a bummer. And we had just gotten on Twitch and just met all the golden shrimps. And everyone was going to NobCon. And we were like, oh my god, I wish we could go. But that's definitely going to happen this year.
Yeah, last year was my first year. I had only started streaming in March of last year.
Same.
And just found how funny.
We had taken a break
found,
though in between, so I don't count it that way. But that's amazing. Wow.
Yeah, I had all my Twitch stats are all messed up, but I had a friend who was putting together a charity festival, and he said, "Hey, you are a musician too. Why don't you participate in this?" I'm like, "But you said it's on Twitch. Isn't that just for tweens to play Call of Duty and scream foul language at each other?" And he's like, "No, there's a music scene. I swear."
I swear.
And then it's been an obsession from there on out.
Oh my god, that's so awesome. I love the way you said that, because that is truly what we say to everyone. I swear there's a scene on there. I swear. I don't know if I'm in a portal I don't know that I'm in and no one else can see us, but I swear we're here.
Yeah.
And it's a great scene too,
It
unlike
is.
any music scene I've been a part of. Because I've been a part of a couple of music scenes, and
Yes.
hasn't been anything that's been quite as supportive and everybody's good. I don't know how it works, but everybody's good at what they do. It's pretty wild.
It is crazy. I think there's some sort of sorting hat, if you will. Can I make a
Okay.
Can I make a Potter reference? I don't know. Situation.
We'll see where this is going.
I know, right? Where am I? What is wrong with me tonight? I am problematic. Let's say I think I was trying to say something about how there's something that we all have in common that has nothing to do with surface stuff that I can figure out.
Yeah, there's some sort of shame.
So that's why I'm it's a sorting hat sort of thing. There's some sort of shared trauma. Yes. Something like scene trauma. Yeah.
Well, I think what happened for me, was I spent years being a drummer in a band, and then that kind of went away.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I had always been, I would do a February album writing month or RPM challenge thing most years for a while. But I was mostly one of those people who would go into my home studio and turn all my gear on and fart around for a while, and then it started to sound bad. I overpatched something, or I just get bored, and then I'd go do something else. And then Twitch changed that for me, and I have so much more creative output. And you have this thing where the stakes are very, very low, but still, you got a couple people watching you do it. You can't just turn the lights off and go turn on the PS4. You gotta work through your creative process now.
Yeah.
You actually have to create things instead of just tinkering.
Yes, we talk about this all the time. We will come in this room, and if we're not on, there's just something. It's it does something to you to be live.
Yeah,
You said, even if there's one person, there's just it's live. That anyone could tune in at any time and see you just as you are. And that, you said you were going to come in here and do this, so you better fucking do it. Whereas when I was alone before this, I would come up with all kinds of reasons why I'm that was great. You can leave now. You know?
Right. Oh yeah.
Yeah, we done yet?
You work for a little while, you get a nice little loop going, and you're like, I'm gonna turn that into a song next time I do this, then it goes on the hard drive.
It goes on that
Stays
hard drive.
there until the end of time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But
Okay.
then,
Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I
No, I was
was
saying then through Twitch, I'm just throwing it away. I'm putting out so much music all the time. It's great.
This is where I was going with that. I'm glad you said that. Is what's your like? I don't want to say pipeline, but like, what's your process? I guess from you're creating on Twitch, you're putting music out. What's that balance like for you?
Yeah, so it's what I do on Twitch and what I do when I'm releasing music on my own or part of the band are like kind of they're similar, but they're very different. Like when I go into a Twitch stream, I have absolutely no plan.
Mm-hmm.
Like 30 seconds before I go live, I always just create a kick drum pattern and I pick a random drum kit on my favorite drum machine. And the Roland TR-8S, not the TR-505.
Right, exactly.
I don't like it that much.
TR-8S, exactly.
And then I have no idea where
it's
going.
2023,
Just,
people.
Right. I have no idea where it goes from there. It could
Mm-hmm.
be based on what happens in chat. I could dial in a random preset. I could tweak something the wrong way and have it sound great. And I just kind of run with it until it becomes something else or it needs to stop. But when I'm creating anything that I'm actually planning on releasing, I still go from that live standpoint. Everything I release is just a live recording. I might make a couple of edits here and there, usually editing for time. Like, okay, you don't need to play that part for 24 minutes.
Yes.
Cut it down to 6.
So
that sort of
relatable.
thing. But even my stuff with Thick Wiccans,
Mm-hmm.
that is all based on improvisational playing.
But together.
Right.
But two of
But
you.
together, we use Ninjam. We play, one of us is in Massachusetts, one of us is in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And we play remotely in sync and then take those pieces and chop them up and then add to them and send the sessions back and forth and then eventually have something that
So
we
you
want to share.
start from a remote improv session?
Yes.
Wait, this has come up a lot in our streams with people. No one knows how to do this. Can you help us all?
We're working on it. So
Everyone says, I wish I knew or I wish there was, and you're telling me you're doing it. So like
there are ways. A lot of it depends on how much you can get your internet to cooperate. You can only do it in one direction. I've been trying to get it set up to run from my end and can't seem to get through all of my routers. But when the other half of my band, shout out to Van Galen in the chat,
yes.
When we run it on his end, we're able to get through. But there's a program called Jamtaba and a program called Ninjam that runs within Reaper that has a sort of, it's not, you're not playing in sync. You're playing incredibly delayed from each other.
Okay.
It actually sets everybody's
slow my roll
signal.
a little. Okay.
Well, but you are in sync.
But you are. You just have to
You're just
deal with that.
You're just 8 beats behind.
Well, if
what
you
the
can
other
make
person is
it,
playing.
you know,
So
to the clock,
they-
then I guess it's okay.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
just hear what the other people were playing 8 beats ago. And they hear what you played.
This
8
is
beats
time
ago.
travel. I'm into it.
It's time travel, exactly. But it allows somebody with a gear locked clock set up like mine to play with people anywhere else and actually keep everything in sync. You don't get that drift. I did a collaboration with a streamer in the UK. I don't know if you all know Javen Fox.
Oh yeah.
He and I did a remote stream without any sort of sync, where he was just nudging his BPM little by little, depending on how much I skipped or lagged going across the Atlantic, and it was terrifying. So I really prefer the Ninja route for sure.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds like you're really out there on the edge with that kind of slipping.
It's yeah. It was a time.
Don't trust Van Galen. No, Van Galen, go ahead. I was going to say we need to share this information, at least in the chat, if not in our Discord later. Because that has come up a lot in these streams with other people we've had on. They're all saying these same things. I wish I could do this, or I have this idea, or I have this project. I'm not sure how we're going to do it and what to use. And Ninjam sounds like the thing.
It's a short-term dream of mine that I'm hoping I can get knocked out in the next few months where I can give, Patreon backers and subscribers a login to my server so they can play along with me on stream.
Holy
Stuff coming through.
cow.
That's
Oh my
cool.
gosh, that's amazing.
But first, I have to get through that pesky Verizon router.
Dang, that's a tough one. We've had the Verizon. We don't currently, but we've had it, and it's got a lot going on.
Yeah,
I think more than others.
Yeah, and it's amazing that technology even exists. Like, it's definitely one of those, like, we'll wrap up a practice and be like, wow, we definitely live in the future right now. It's happening.
I love that. We live in the future is one of my favorite things because that's what Twitch is to me.
Yeah.
If
what
are we doing right now?
I mean, honestly, even 5 years ago, I couldn't imagine that I'd be. Yeah,
that is such a good point.
I'm looping spacey shit in my room by myself all the time.
Yeah.
And now suddenly, there are dozens of people watching me do it.
Yeah.
It's wild times.
I wouldn't have believed myself. That that not only I was doing it, but that all of us are doing it.
And there's this thing that you have to come to terms with when you find that out. Where you're like, oh wow, I'm just a type of person. I'm not this magical, special synth person with this. No, I'm just
it's hard
another
to come
one.
to terms with.
But on the flip of that side is that like you have built-in friends who get you on a level that no one in the universe understands.
Yeah. Not to talk about NobCon too much, but last
Let's do
year
it.
I was sitting at a table with half a dozen people discussing drum machine firmware updates. And I'm like, where else could this happen?
This is like our version of a sci-fi convention community.
Yeah, except we're the science fiction.
We're the science fiction. Exactly. We're the characters inside of it, and we have our own conventions inside this world.
And none of it's canon.
None of it. Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. Okay, I don't, if there's questions in the chat, I'm just going to do a quick browse.
It's amazing how broad.
So many friends in here. I didn't see you all at first. Thank you so much for joining in. Oh my goodness. Yes, artists who have trauma. That's the only ones I know. Yeah. This is some deep stuff. Streaming focuses your creativity. That's a really good point. The stakes have never been lower. Yep. Oh my goodness.
Streaming does focus your creativity and in a
That's a good
different way. I think being a synthesizer person, a synthesist programmer, whatever you want to call it, can be kind of solitary. And if you make it that way, lonely hobby. I think that's why a lot of people gravitate towards it, because it's something that you can do by yourself and you don't really need anybody else for it.
Yes.
But at the same time, sometimes you're just locked in a room for hours and hours on end. And I think what's great about the electronic music community on Twitch is that we are in that room by ourselves messing around with our gear, but also there are tons of other people there with us.
Yeah, it is. It's that thing that I'm like, I wouldn't have believed that 5 years ago.
And even 5 years ago, Twitch wouldn't allow it. It's only been over, I think, the last 3 years.
That's a good point.
Non-gaming content on the site.
I truly have to be reminded of that because it feels like the pandemic-y shit started like 700 years ago and has always been and always will be. But it's only been 3 years, and that's really when the music stuff started, and we really still are on like the bleeding edge of all of this, even though it feels like it's like, oh, there's millions of us here. We all found each other. How great.
Right. And the Golden Shrimp Guild is great for that.
Exactly.
If you are an electronic musician on Twitch, they will find you.
They will find you. We always talk, we call Bardic the Boba Fett of the Twitch synth community. Thank you so much for that gift sub. Make mistakes to Yapo. That was awesome. Sorry, we're being exploded upon. Woohoo! Right as Yapo came back. That was perfect timing. Welcome in, Wiver. So much love. So much love. Oh, and I love your emotes are like the best. I would just like exclusively use this. For sure.
Thank you. I feel like my whole vibe is like playfully janky. And I hope that those emotes come across as playful janky.
Oh my gosh, I wouldn't have said that. I think playful maybe, but like more I just see them and go, oh yeah, that's exactly what I need right now. Like those are the
Good.
like for every like, you know, talk about like a Golden Shrimp Guild like synth-on event or something, like your emotes are one of my tops during that
I'd be
experience.
lying if I said it didn't warm my heart every single time I see one of those little waving cable arms.
Yeah. There's something about it. I mean, just to talk about, like, we live in the future and we live in this community, and it's
So
like,
good.
it feels like when the Golden Shrimp Guild finds you, you just kind of like slip into this whole other portal of like bondedness and just like creativity, and like sort of like if there was like a club at our high school that we like, the AV club, but it's like for synth AV club or whatever. That's what I think it would take to find these kind of people, and you might maybe know 2 of them in your whole life.
And that'd be if you had the courage to sign
to
up
even
for
sign
it
up,
and go.
Right.
You know, like,
Which, if you're one of the synth AV people, you'd probably be too busy at home messing with all your gear to actually go sign up for it.
You'd be dealing with the problem
Yeah.
that Twitch solves, which is having all of your shit for your shows.
Yeah. And I do play Meet Space in person gigs.
Oh, cool.
And lug this stuff around.
Ooh.
You know.
I mean, if you're giving squirrels a chance outside, I imagine you're doing gigs.
Yeah. And, you know, I've gotten rained on. There's been some scary stuff. And it's, you know, as someone who has been playing in bands since I was a teenager, it's weird to go back to. Like, I'm so used to Twitch, I'm so used to chat and that immediate feedback and having a conversation while you're playing that, you know, the last gig that I played over the summer, it's outdoors, it's late at night, everybody's, you know, having a great time out dancing off their asses, and I'm just kind of like there by myself, and I'm like, oh man, where's the chat? Like,
where's chat? Yes.
Where's the instant gratification of somebody being like, oh, I really like that beat, and me getting to tell them how I made it? Like,
can you imagine? I've been thinking about this lately.
Does anybody have dreams that they're on streams? I haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
But I like that you have this question.
Have you?
I haven't. No, I was going to say something else.
No.
I've dreamed about other people's streams, but never my own.
No, like, because, you know, I'll have those, the dreams that I have are like, I'm in, I did theater in college, so I have these dreams that like I'm on a stage and I have no idea what play we're doing.
Yes.
No idea
like,
how I got there, what we're doing, and everybody's looking at me like, what's wrong with you? And I'm just like trying to make stuff up. But no, I can imagine.
That's horrifying. That's a nightmare.
Wow.
I have it so often. It's like,
whoa.
I don't even think of it as a nightmare.
I didn't know that.
I have a not dissimilar dream.
Okay.
Frequently, and I'm not, if we're talking about it, but I'm not like a dream rememberer
Okay.
most of the time. But I have a recurring dream where I am in a city I don't know, and I have a rental car I need to return. But I don't know what kind of car it is, what color it is, or where I parked it.
Sounds like my dreams.
So it's just me running around a city I don't know, looking for a car I wouldn't know if it hit me. So here's to waking hours.
Thank you. That made me feel so understood.
I feel like I don't have a contribution. Like, I feel like I don't really dream.
Yeah, you're not a dream. I mean, unless you're dreaming and you're not telling me, but I usually wake up and I'm
I
like,
don't feel
oh
like
my
I'm
God, let me tell you what I
conscious
was
of
just
my
doing,
dreams.
you know? I'm like, I was just in Paris and we were chasing these people, you know? And you're like, I don't dream. Like, that sounds very relaxing. Thank you. Like, I wish I didn't dream.
Like, well, I have definitely had nightmares and stuff, but I feel like that's the only time I dream. I only dream when it's like a bad,
You like wake up screaming.
like,
That's it.
you know, like chase scene kind of thing for like several hours, you know? Like, I feel like that's the only dreams that I have.
Kind of like an endless tape loop.
I guess, yeah.
Which is a wonderful thing. Who doesn't love an endless tape?
Yeah, I love an endless tape loop that I can control when it starts and stops and what's on it. Oh yeah, sorry, I should have said trigger warning for anyone who's not into like bad dream talk.
Yeah.
Sorry for that. But yeah, just the idea that like we stream so much and it becomes, well, basically like we like over the holidays interacted with people who aren't on the internet. And it's just that like awareness that you're like, oh God, my whole brain is rewired for this experience now. And I can no longer relate to people who are not on the internet.
Right. Like you've got to be on the internet at some level.
I mean, right.
Not everyone is creating, but I'm like, you got to be on. gotta understand some of this.
You're
stuff,
checking your
right?
email. You're looking at Facebook. I don't know. You're reading the
And
news in some weird format that I wouldn't want to know about.
right. I see Daniel Naru talks about dreams kicking in after a marathon and 24 plus hour streams. And I just last week did a
Oh, I missed
24-hour stream,
Oh wow.
which was a wild experiment and just, again, being on or just being in that social situation for an entire consecutive day, which was a lot more fun than I expected it to be.
Holy shit. Okay, yeah. I definitely want to hear more about this because we have some fear about I hope our stream doesn't go so well that it goes for a lot of hours because I think I'll get tired. I don't know how to handle it.
Yeah, I got tired. I got very tired. I tried to do as many different things on stream as I could. I could just make music for 24 hours. I couldn't
Okay.
stand there and do that for that long. So,
Yeah.
I cooked. I made some music. I played video games.
So you
Built
had
half
your
a Lego kit.
day without
I
sleeping.
had my day. Just a lot more music, and I had a lot more day. Those 4 to 7 a.m. hours where it was a special kind of delirium.
Okay. Yes, this is taking me back to times in teen years where for whatever reason we're staying up all night. Who knows
because
why.
you didn't have any reason not to.
Yeah. And that specific feeling I haven't had in a very long time when you're trying to, you have to stay up for the 24 hours.
Yeah.
It's not like you're traveling and you're, taking breaks from it. You're staying up. It's a challenge of some kind.
I'm doing this thing.
Those
I'm pulling it all
hours is the most brutal experience you will ever have. Right in that it's not the sun's going to come up soon, but it hasn't yet. And you just don't
So
even
what I
know
did
where
is
you
I
are.
said, heavy techno. That's the only way I'm going to stay awake.
I'm with you on
Pro
that
tip
one.
right there.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
I love that. That's the perfect answer because that's exactly what it's for. That's
Making it keeps me awake.
Yeah, making it keeps you
Yeah.
awake. That's brilliant. So I do have a question though, technically, not to get too nerdy, but when you're doing this 24-hour stream and you're just taking people through your day, are you switching from mobile to desktop to how are you getting around?
I had kind of a stupid, complicated setup. Because even on my regular stream, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 cameras going, plus a couple, I run a video synthesizer, so I capture that. So I set up a laptop in my kitchen with a couple of cameras and then streamed that over NDI to my studio, which had my computer. And then I tried to take the dog for a walk and use the phone and go remote, but that didn't really work out, unfortunately. But yeah, it ended up being I think in total 8 cameras spread across 2 rooms.
Wow.
Just stupid nonsense with no reason for it. I made a 1950s Jello mold.
Oh my god! I was gonna say right as I asked that question, I was like, "Wait a minute! I bet your whole house is just wired."
It really
ready
it's
to
just
go.
a small house. I live in a really tiny place, and the kitchen's just over there, and it worked. It barely worked, but it worked. There were some audio issues and some microphone batteries died, but that's what
part
it's
of
all
it,
about.
right?
That's what the whole Twitch thing is
Yeah.
Dealing with all of your tech issues because they're constant and just making the best of it when you can.
Yeah, that's the drama that everyone tunes in for.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't want to see a stream where somebody just starts and then does a good job and stops.
No.
What's the point in that? If I wanted to see that, I'd just go to YouTube.
That is such a good point because I was thinking about how the idea of going back to concerts, it's just not even going back. It's what even is that? I don't even know. But I would want to still act the same way.
Oh yeah.
But
absolutely.
the audience, I think what I'm trying to get at is the reason Twitch is so awesome is because of everyone who's watching understanding what the vibe is.
Yeah, and if you don't understand what the vibe is, you can go find a different vibe.
Yeah.
And that's totally fine. And again, comparing it to an actual physical show that you have to
Get your
go
own
to.
vibe.
You load up into whatever form of transportation you got to take, and you get your ticket, and
Paint the
show
scene.
up, and you get a drink or 3, and the band before the band you want to see starts playing, and they're all right, but it's hot, and it's late, and you know, Twitch just like, oh yeah, this has been cool for the next hour. And
The person that was supposed to meet you there isn't coming now.
Right, and we're going because it's the band they like anyway.
Oh my god, how many times? It's too real.
Sorry, we're all reliving this.
I know, right? This is what we said at the top though, is like we all have shared like scene trauma, and that's why we all like found each other
Scene trauma.
like love Twitch so much.
I mean, it definitely, yeah, if you've played a lot of live gigs, it's such a break. And like,
And then as a drummer, no lugging a drum kit around.
Oh my god, I know. I was gonna say you have very specific drummer stuff that we definitely understand, but it also means like my experience with drummers is that they've played in a lot of different kinds of bands.
Oh yeah, I've played in drums in just about every kind of band you can imagine. Like, I had when I was a teenager, I had a blues and classic rock cover band. I had a residency at a bar when I was 15.
Yes.
I played in a ska band, and I played in a standard 90s band that had a cellist instead of a bass player.
Yes.
That, you know, throwback bands and industrial bands and just, you know, math rock most recently.
Oh, cool.
Just everything in between. I love playing in a weird time signature, which is strange for a guy who makes electronic music. Like,
no, it makes sense, right? Like
throw
the thing.
me in 13/8 time.
Yeah, that's a specific feeling when you're physically playing them. That I get that would be something that appeals versus programming.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to have a combination of both, and that's
always
why I like the whole. Sorry, I'm looking at Grog's comment about the.
Oh no, there's so much chat.
Nicest people
Feel
on
free.
the internet.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can make real friends online. So yeah, Grog and I are great friends, and we met through the Twitch synth community.
Absolutely.
I have so many great friends now, just because we're all synth nerds who happen to know how the internet works.
Oh, Grogol has to leave. Thanks for joining us. I'm so glad we got to meet and connect.
Are we
here.
synth friends?
Oh, I say we're synth friends.
All right, I got it in before Google.
Oh, you wanted
yeah.
Grogol to hear it. Okay. Yeah. We always ask at the end before you leave if we've officially become synth friends.
Oh yeah.
So I just slid it in there.
It's understood. If you accept to come on here and talk to us, like it's probably understood. I would wait for someone to then come on with like an antagonistic like expectation now.
I know. I feel like
What
they'd
do you
have to
want?
they'd have to be quite the character. They'd be like our arch nemesis on Twitch for like until eternity.
Oh
like,
man.
Synth enemies series.
Ooh, a twist. It's the Michael Crichton sequel.
Good luck finding any.
I know, right? That's the thing. Like, we talked about how when people show up on Twitch as the audience, you know, they already kind of know what to do and, like, help enhance the experience. And, like, if we tried to do this out in the world, we'd have to convince the audience to act this way. But on the flip side, we talked about how the people we find in this community are so, like, wanting to share the samples and wanting to share what we're doing and wanting to share the knowledge. And, like, you're telling us how your setup is, the setup of the setup of the setup.
Transparency,
Yeah, if anything, it's hard to make any of us stop talking about it. It's really, like the thing that we're super passionate about. Like,
and there is so much to talk about.
There's so much to talk about, and there's so much to learn, and there's so much theory and so many new ideas. Like everything is expanding so quickly with electronic music and making electronic music with physical hardware. You know. Maybe as part of our shared synth trauma is that we were scarred by the early 2000s and everything going into the box. And you know, the only piece of electronic music gear you could get would be a MIDI controller keyboard. Maybe if you're lucky, you could get one of those fader controllers or something with some knobs on it.
Yes, this is what we were saying. The controller wars in the 2000s. Like, it was crazy.
This one's 89 keys.
Yes. I would always think I needed it, and I would never use it.
No. You just need like an octave or 2 octaves and a button to make them go up and down, or maybe 2 keyboards. But
2 keyboards is the actual answer. That's the secret pro tip answer: is 2 keyboards.
Yeah, that's what I do. I have the SH01A and the microfreak so that I can run a bass line on one, a lead on the other. Theoretically, as a non-keyboardist, I say run a bass line. What I mean is hold a note down.
He's
I don't have
running
to give
those
away
bass
all of my
lines.
secrets.
Next time I tune in, I'm gonna expect an elaborate bass line.
I mean, I'm a 303 fan, so I can make that happen.
All right, challenge accepted. I see.
Which version do you have?
I have the TB3, the touch bass line from
Mhm.
Roland.
Oh, how is that? I've heard positive things.
It's a lot of fun to play. It has a really cool glitch, stutter, repeat function.
Mhm.
The randomness is really good. It's not a very faithful recreation of an actual 303. But if you want something that's fun to play and gives you that 303 acid bass sound, I can't recommend it enough.
Gotcha.
Like, it's super fun to play.
Yeah, and I'm sure it has its own like timbre, at this point.
Oh yeah, and it has a lot of options. It is, very digital, but that means that there are a lot of different 303 sounds that you can dig through, and it has some built-in effects like echoes and delays, and can really make everything crunchy. It's super fun.
Oh, that's
It's
really
also
cool.
great at generating random patterns and working
Wow.
within them.
Okay, that's actually a lot more than I was expecting.
Yeah. And I've compared a few of them. I had the Behringer one, which
Mhm.
was really too faithful a recreation of an actual 303, I think. I'm like, this
It's
is
an interesting
terrible and
perspective.
difficult to use. Oh, I hate programming this. Go back to this one that makes more sense.
Gotcha. I am stuck on the Behringer one myself.
I know.
And it's cool. I actually like programming it with MIDI. Like MIDI kind of saves the deal for me.
That, and if you hook it up to a computer, it has a pretty decent software librarian.
Yeah.
But I had to make some cuts, and
I gotcha.
I had to let one of my 303s go.
Yeah. I don't blame
That
you
was the
either,
one.
but
that makes sense.
it's pretty disposable and it's so specifically just a 303, like
Yeah.
that
And it's, like you said, it's so inexpensive.
it's so inexpensive. I like the distortion too, honestly, though. Like if you're like nostalgic for that sound though, like you can.
Yeah. Oh, it's tons of fun.
Mhm.
Like, and it has the CV patching, which is something that you don't get out of the Roland version. Well, the TB3 version at least.
I do
Okay.
use
You
that. Yeah, I do use
You can
that.
self-patch the output to the input on that, and it makes it just like a little bit gnarlier.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fun little box.
Yeah.
Dang, deep. This is a dream come true for us.
Have you ever
It's
used
like
a
deep drum machine talk.
MC202?
I have used an MC 101, a 303, and a 505, but I have not used an MC 202. I know it's very similar
Me
to the
neither.
TB 303
Yeah.
as far as the programming goes.
Right. But it's got like the SH101 sound.
Yeah, it has that. I love that sound. That was the first synthesizer that I really fell in love with when I heard the sound, and I'm like, what specifically is that? And it was that SH101.
Yeah.
I have owned one. It was a while ago. I regret
Daniel's-
selling it.
Are all drum machines only have prime numbers?
No, there's the 808,
Yeah.
there's the 626, the 8S, depending on the value of S.
That's funny. It is. We did have to dig though.
Totally microwave.
And I love that
Oh.
Boss DS1's distortion circuit, Hayes Anderson. I'm actually working on a circuit bent version of that DS1 pedal.
What?
Isn't quite ready for the world yet, but
Okay.
there again, and that's one of the things that I love about circuit bending is that you can open stuff up and break it. And
The whole point is like
It's
the
just
more
wonderful.
broken, the better. When-
1 second here, I gotta turn something.
It's
back
almost
on.
like there's no such thing as breaking it. It's like anything you do to it to change
For
it
some reason, I turned
is
myself off.
fine.
Alright. I should have it again now. Sorry. about
Welcome in, Microwave Buddha. I didn't see you come in. Oh, there's so many friends in the
Yeah.
chat. This is
What a
a lot of fun
surprise.
today.
It's been awesome.
Yeah. Ooh, I think it's of all of the pieces of gear that we talk about, the TD3, like everybody seems to have experience with that.
Well, I mean, Fatboy Slim said everybody needs a 303.
That's why. Yeah.
He was right.
He was
Everyone
right.
does need a 303. Behringer surprisingly made a clone of it,
So I guess
and
yeah.
they made it dirt cheap.
It really pours fuel on the fire.
And,
Yeah.
you know, I have no problem with them cloning that. It's a piece of gear that you can't get anymore. Make it accessible. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Some of the other stuff,
we don't have to get political here about how we feel about Behringer.
And Behringer, I'm coming for you.
And its history is that
They're
was
so worried,
like a pawn shop instrument anyway, right? Like the way that
everyone hated it.
Yeah, the way that it became popular was that it was cheap. So I feel like it being cheap from Behringer is part of the spirit of the 303.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It came out, and everyone was like, this is terrible. This sounds nothing like a bass guitar, which is what it was supposed to sound like.
That's hilarious.
It ended up in pawn shops, and, you know, people throwing them away, and then suddenly acid happens, and it's all wonderful from there.
Yeah. It's all rainbows and sunshine from there. Yeah.
There's a great YouTube video of CFAX Acid Crew in, I think it's 1999. It's like a grainy black and white video at a rave of him eating from a styrofoam takeout container with his 303 on his lap, just hammering away at it, just plugging out a little pattern. And then it immediately cuts to him at the show playing that same pattern to a room with like 150 people in it, stuff falling off the walls. It's a fun little machine.
I love videos like that.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, me too.
Dang, I go.
And that guy's my spirit animal.
Oh.
I don't know if you're CFAX Acid Crew fans, but he's not just Squarepusher's little brother to me.
Okay, fair enough. I feel like that's gonna light up some chat in our Discord.
Yeah, I'm not familiar. I'll be super honest, but that sounds like something I would actually really dig. You know, like I'm surprised that I haven't heard of it.
He did get his start going into his older brother's room and playing with his stuff when he wasn't at home.
Yeah, and I'm a big Squarepusher fan, so
he is by far my favorite musician ever.
Holy shit!
Anytime,
that's so cool.
Anytime Squarepusher plays within a 5-hour drive of me, I'm going.
Heck yeah! Well, with the Warp artists, the old school ones anyway, they're rare, you know.
Yeah, it's
concerts.
not like they're there every weekend
these days.
Yeah. I've seen Squarepusher 4 times. I'm happy to say.
That's impressive.
It was absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
but his little brother CFAX is a DAW-less musician who really uses almost exclusively 90s gear. So he'll use like a 90s era sequencer, an Amiga, you know, an actual 303, an actual SH-101, and gig with the whole setup.
Doing it right at least.
It's great to see him doing a boiler room set and have to hit stop and start again because something was off in his sync. It just really shows you that, like, oh, celebrities, they're just like us.
They're just like us. Damn. Yeah, that's definitely one of the things to consider.
Yeah, but kudos, you know, for him doing it like that. That's cool.
Yeah, thank you for educating us.
Oh yeah, I love spreading the word about CFAX Acid Crew.
That's amazing. No, I'm so glad we're talking so much about acid because it's like not the kind of music we necessarily make, but we would definitely be listening to it if you checked in on us at any random time.
And that's a big thing that I find with the electronic musicians and the Twitch community specifically, is the kind of music we make and the kind of music we listen to can be very different things.
Very different.
Yeah. I love jungle. I listen to jungle and drum and bass like all the time. Back in the day, I was a jungle DJ. Like I love it. It's my working music. It's my fun music. It's not what I make. Right? It's not because what I make is whatever falls out of me when I turn my gear on, and it generally is not jungle.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. I love this conversation.
The amen break, you know, you don't start out with that like ever in one of your sets.
I mean, I do have it loaded into a couple things. It's
there it is.
It'll show its face. I really like the MC-101 for a break machine.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it has a really good scatter stutter effect where you can load up 4 different breaks and layer them and then kind of stutter them around and chop them up in real time. Again,
hell yeah.
Really doesn't want to touch software when he's working on something creative.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. That sounds like something you'd do in the Octatrack.
Yeah, I could probably do it in the Octatrack too. I haven't had the pleasure of working with one of those yet. but it's
we've been pushing
it's
this.
tempting. Yeah.
We get nothing from it, but we just think they're like such a good. I don't know. Like we've
It's
just
one of those things that instantly clicked. You know when you
it
get a
seems
piece
to be
of
the
gear.
answer to a lot of people's question more often than I'm expecting.
I know when I got my TR-8S, that happened. I just like lost hours because I'm like, this works just the way I want it to, and it's making the sounds I want. And then my most recent piece of gear, the Polyend to Play, I really, really like the workflow on that. It's so much fun to perform with.
That's cool. Hayes was just talking about the Polyend tracker, which it's on our gas list.
Yeah, it's a little bit on the gas list, but like I've been messing around with software trackers, like just to get the feel for it, because I missed that era for some reason.
Lucky you.
Yeah, I went straight to like the MIDI sequencer, like DAW kind of thing, like with Pro Tools. You know, so like the tracker scene had already kind of like, it was still in progress, but like it had already happened, you know, like in a sense, like it wasn't the same scene by the time I got into it. So I'm kind of going back to that now and just using like the software version.
It's our nostalgia cycles.
But I'm using it on like an old G4 Mac, so I feel like that's still pretty nostalgic.
See, that's vintage computing.
Yeah.
For sure.
So Player Pro is the one that I'm messing around with right now.
Okay. Yeah, I think the one that I used was just called Multi-Tracker. And it ran in DOS. Like it was super
wow.
Yeah.
Super old. But then Rebirth came out, and I stopped using it because I'm like, this is everything that I could need in one little spot. And look, you can see the knob on the screen. It all makes sense.
It all makes sense when you can see the knob.
I have Rebirth on that same computer, so yeah.
What a jump, though.
I love Rebirth with all the mods and everything.
Yeah.
Like, big fan of that.
From whatever that DOS multi-track is.
I mean, it looks like Excel.
Anything you just said DOS, and I was like, I know that's a nightmare. I just know. And to go from that to Rebirth must have been like the world. Like I live in the future.
Oh yeah, just hitting buttons instead of typing in text.
Crazy.
Like it's a more tangible experience and more creative because of it, I think.
Yes. No, it's all hand in hand. Like we're living in the future. We're doing this because of what's going on and what's available. And it's all like hand in hand. It's a chicken egg.
Yeah.
I think. Yapo did say, can we play with can he play with our Octatrack at NobCon? I would imagine if we're at NobCon, is there not going to be an Octatrack there? I don't know who's at NobCon.
Yeah, I didn't know if I was going to bring it.
There'll probably be one of the
but I like that this is now going to make us go, we're bringing our Octatrack to NobCon, right?
I mean, now I have a reason to, at least.
I see what you did there, Yapo. I see it.
I felt like I was at Synth summer camp.
Oh.
Like I stayed up too late every night and hung out with my friends, and it's just like a nonstop nerd party with all the right kind of nerds, with like really great performances, and you just get to meet the people that create the gear that you use.
That's so crazy.
I talk about that MIDI routing control center, but it's like the center of my entire setup, and I got to talk to the two programmers who built it. And let them know and like shake the guy's hand, thank him for that firmware upgrade 6 months ago that fixed that thing I was dealing with. And it's a really cool, really specific place to be.
Yeah, hell yeah. I don't know how long it's been going, but it can't be that long.
This last year was the 10th year.
10.
Oh, that's so much longer than I thought.
But it was my first time going.
Yeah.
Right.
It was like the first big shrimp guild time going, I would guess. Maybe not.
From what I understand, last year may have been even bigger.
But they
the
did.
Year before last, I mean, because some people actually had little Golden Shrimp Guild things to hook onto their name tag from the year before. But I know we have big things in the works for this year, too.
Big things in the works. I love it. I'm so excited about that because it'll be our first time going.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
Been wanting to go for a long time now.
Oh, yeah.
It's if you think you have gas now, you just wait.
Because we used to go to NAMM. Been a couple times, and that's, I imagine, not the same, but like if I imagine what NAMM is like, smaller scale obviously, but with stuff I'd actually want.
I feel like NAMM's it's a lot broader and more mainstream, and it's geared more towards, quote, the professional musician.
That's what it is, exactly.
Audio engineers and people who are, I'm guitarist professionally.
Yes.
I play in the studio and I
Yes.
play in these bands.
And I need to know what the hot gear is right now for studios.
NomCon is like, this booth is a guy who makes DIY synth kits out of his house, and he has a little booth here, and they're $20, and you gotta look him in
that's
the
so
eye and
cool.
not buy one.
It's more like a flea market, and you can sell.
No, it's just shit you actually want.
You can sell on the floor there.
You can sell on the floor there.
That's cool.
There are actually a couple of local music shops that were both buying and selling on the floor, which I wasn't expecting. But also you get to see and feel a lot of gear that you wouldn't normally get to put your hands on. At least where I am. I don't have a local synth shop.
Yeah, and even if you did, like these little guys who just are online, basically, you're not going to find them anyway.
And then you get to meet them. You don't only get to sample their wares. It's like, I talked about that Delptronics module that lets me use the Wii nunchuck.
Right.
I met Nicky Delp, the guy who makes it.
Right.
I bought it from him directly. I got to talk to him about what a cool idea it was. It's just like, again, the sense of community is just crazy.
That's so exciting because it's even beyond that. It's like you're experiencing like what other people, like we talked about, everyone's like in their house doing stuff, tinkering away by themselves, right? And it's like bringing us all out into the light like we're vampires. And you're getting to actually like interact with someone's creation that they would never in another timeline be able to do or have access to this community. Yeah.
And then having them explain it to you.
Yeah.
I talked to the person like who programmed the synthesis engine for this keyboard excitedly and can barely even spit the words out. They're so excited to tell you about all of the work that they've put into this synthesizer that you'll never be able to afford, but you can play it right now.
You can play it right now.
It's,
That's so cool.
I'm happy to say my gas only got me to buy one piece of gear that I saw at NomCon.
Oh,
that's amazing. You might need to teach some workshops on how you did that.
I hid my credit card.
There you go.
It was the hypnosis from Dreadbox, which is a super fun time effect.
Oh, I actually really want one of those. So I know exactly why you would buy that.
First of all, it's beautiful, and I saw it from across the room, and we locked eyes. I just said, I need to go over and figure out what this thing is. And as someone who lives with all their music locked to that grid, it doesn't have a MIDI input or an output. It's all time and space effects, but you can't link it up with anything else. It's really cool. It has physical reverb springs in it. It's a lot of fun. It lights up purple.
Yes, it's very what's the word, like chill wave, like graphics.
Yeah, it has like a whole vaporwave design.
Or vaporwave design.
Yeah,
that's actually what I was thinking of. Sorry. Yeah, vaporwave, more vaporwave.
And yeah, Yopo, I do wish that it was one day longer. Maybe we'll just stay for an extra day next year.
Ooh, that's good to know. Again, pro tip: when you go to NomCon, just check out the next day after it's over. Just give yourself that break.
Is the flanger and the chorus delay, are those all analog on that thing?
Yeah, it's always so hard to tell because what really constitutes analog at this point. But from what I understand, it's all analog. It's all very simple. You get 2 or 3 knobs per effect. But it sounds fantastic.
That's my favorite kind of thing.
That's cool. Yeah,
for like a box of something.
Would you say the spring reverb is like kind of like a medium tank, like as far
as 3 spring tank?
3 spring.
And it's like, I think it sounds good. Honestly, I wish it was a little bit looser, maybe, because I want to be able to bang something with a spring reverb and get that like twang out of it. Yeah. And it takes a pretty strong hit to make it twang.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. But I still when I use that and the microcosm at the same time, like off in space. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I was gonna say your music. I feel like it sounds like a sci-fi soundtrack sometimes. Maybe a lot of the time.
It feels like a sci-fi soundtrack when I'm making it.
Right, but I wouldn't say it's like spacey, and the whole point is what you just pointed out is because everything is clocked and linked together. Any elements that aren't, that's kind of what adds that spacey feeling, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think these things have been huge for my sound as a musician in that everything was, it's computers. It's not computers, but it's computers. It's electricity moving around. It has a certain sound. And then you add these things that add space and reverb and delay and a flanger, and it just kind of makes it seem a little bit more human, a little bit more organic.
Yeah. Love it.
Yeah, maybe that's what I mean by spacey, is that organic sort of element.
Yeah.
Where you're like, there's some layer of something going on or some parameter that might have some random quality to it.
I love those random qualities. That's
Mm-hmm.
one of my favorite things to do, and part of why I like the modular synth setup so much is just playing around to see what happens, introducing random voltages. And I use a module that Instro makes called the Scion that uses biometric data. I don't know what that means.
Ooh,
but
it sounds so
can
sci-fi though.
You can hook electrodes up to yourself or another person or to a plant or whatever, use that to generate random voltage. There's probably a little chicanery involved, I'm not going to lie, but it's a lot of fun. So
we don't care.
Yeah, like it sounds good, and it introduces that sort of random, who knows what kind of signal I'm going to get out of it, so I'll take it.
Oh, I see what you mean. So it's still like, there's still MIDI involved.
Well, somebody might hook them up to mushrooms or something, and you see people like, getting sound.
That's a whole sub niche of the synth scene.
I see that a lot, and whenever I see those sort of things, it always drives me crazy.
Oh, I love
because
it.
There'll be somebody who will like take a 1/4-inch cable and plug it into either side of a piece of Jello and then jiggle it. They'll play some effect pedal, and they'll be like, "Did you hear the crazy sound that made?" And people will use this module, and they'll plug it into a mushroom, and then they'll like, listen to this mushroom's music, and it sounds all, but it's just the mushroom's generating a very tiny electrical signal. And you're feeding that into your synthesizer, and then your synthesizer is doing all of this. The mushroom isn't making music. You could touch it with your finger, it would do something similar. Maybe I'm just jealous because I didn't make myself a mushroom guy. I'm definitely saying this as a person who's about to take a suitcase into the woods and try to string remotely plugged into a tree. But I'm not going to say, like, this is the tree's song. The tree's name is Philip, and he told me what this song is about.
Yeah,
it's just going to be like, I'm getting voltage out of nature.
Getting voltage out of it. I think we do need to reclaim the science here, okay? We need to debunk these videos.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to duet these and debunk them, okay?
Yeah, and there you talk about that pull from the algorithm. It's like, I gotta make a TikTok.
I swear my phone will like ping me and be like, "Did you make a TikTok today?" I'm like, where is this coming from?
Yeah.
Who's pinging me this?
It knows.
Soup Katie, thank you for the follow. Pause for Soup Katie's follow. Thank you.
Oh, hey, Soup Katie, breathalyzer, slab.
Yeah. Oh, Sitlab, I just saw you come in. Breathalyzer, welcome in. We're learning. Oh, Daniel said biometric is using measuring skin conductivity or temperature or other data and converting that into something. I love it. That could mean anything.
Really? Like, what does that really mean?
They're just taking your DNA out of your fingerprint. Yeah, your
It's taking your social security number and using that as the basis for a patch.
Yeah, exactly.
Your credit card numbers.
Oh, I love it. Knobcon and Super Booth. Just yell it out. Yep, we talked about that stuff. Yeah, science is fun, and we do want to make our own singing mushrooms. That is true. Yeah.
I'm working on it. I got the solar power thing together.
I was going to say, if anyone can do it, it's Mike. I'm
trying. I spent so much time breaking things that I'm starting to learn how to put it back together again. So it's good.
I love it. We're finding you along your hero's journey, right? As you are starting to figure out to put things back together. And soon we will have this futuristic technology.
Yeah, that's it. That's the ticket.
That's the ticket. Because I really do want to know what the mushrooms are saying.
Yeah, they're saying something.
They are.
There's something going on. It just doesn't sound like that.
Whatever your synth is doing is what your synth is doing. That's not the mushroom talking. But I do think it's funny, you're right, that like these videos get so much reach that I do think the average person thinks that's what a mushroom sounds like.
Right. And then you have people, I have people who will send them to me. like, you should do this. And I'm like, what? I should lie?
Dude.
I should be a liar?
That's literally the new "you should be on American Idol" or whatever. Fill in the blank, right? Is you should be making these mushroom videos.
I'm sorry, I have self-respect. No, I think they're great. They're very entertaining. I think that electronic music is scary to a lot of people. It doesn't make sense to a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
The layman, like we talked about, I think in our pre-chat, are like, oh, you're a DJ. Like, no, I'm not a DJ. There's nothing wrong with DJs. That's just not what I do.
No, if you hired me to be a DJ, you'd be highly disappointed.
I'm working on my DJ skills. I found a cheap, broken DJ controller secondhand. I'm like, I can do this. I can click the sync button. It's
totally.
But I think that videos like that kind of remystify what you could instead demystify and say, okay, this is plugged into a mushroom. This is what's actually happening. This is generating an electronic signal that does this sort of thing. And that's what I try to do on my streams, at least, is kind of, oh, you like what this sounds like? Well, it's really easy. So easy that you shouldn't give me any credit. Here's how I did.
Yeah, that's
But
rad.
what's crazy is that person, there's probably a 70-30 chance that they're actually doing anything with that information. So it's still just,
But they could, and maybe it'll put a little spark in them.
Ooh, I
and
do like
go
that.
and pick up that micro freak, and
No, you're definitely getting people into the game. You're definitely the gateway drug pusher.
Yeah, I'm just
right?
a shill for Sweetwater. That's
Oh my gosh! It just starts going across the bottom of your screen. Oh my goodness, that's funny. Oh, okay. Oh, celluloid, I didn't see you when I was. Oh, everyone's talking about tripping on mushrooms now. Sorry, we opened the mushroom chat.
I mean, that's where it naturally goes. That's why people think mushrooms have that sound.
That makes sense. Yeah, Synth Lab's we could easily find out what the mushrooms are saying.
Shrooms, man.
No, you plug into the mushrooms and turn the synth on. You don't plug the synth into the mushrooms.
There you go.
They've got the order of operations all right.
There it is. You're doing the mushrooms wrong, man. Plugging them in wrong. Yeah.
I don't know anything about no mushrooms.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I think I'm caught up now. Oh, Sweetwater.
Oh, Sweetwater.
Yeah, I do think that mushrooms are too smart to let us hear them anyway.
Yeah,
I'm
or if they said
definitely on
something, we
board
wouldn't
with that.
understand it.
Yeah, they're sorry, you're too dumb for this. Just keep playing your bleep bloops. Sure, yeah, you're getting me to sing. Sure. Oh,
That makes sense, Microwave Buddha.
John Cage was a mycologist. Wow, I didn't know that. What? Okay. Now I want to know what that really means. Yeah, there's something going on here.
Mushrooms and hallucinogens go hand in hand. I mean, you can go back to the Buchla red panel.
It always is the first thing that comes to mind.
I have a module that I love called mycelium. It just has a bunch of little mushrooms all over it. It's just a plates clone, but I like it. It has a really big knob on it.
It has a really big knob on it.
That's an awesome module.
Yeah.
It's a really, really good module.
It's so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so much packed in there. It's not, a lot of people get to be analog purists with their modular setups. I know it's not pure analog, but it's still fun.
Mm-hmm. I say so.
Yeah, that's a really tough thing because do I want to go down this road?
Go down the road.
I think I'm already on it. I'm already on it. Choga. Spending time making sure we're being purely analog is a losing battle.
What is the point, really?
There isn't really.
You're going to make sure that you're purely analog so that you can make a digital recording.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So we'll have people ask us, they'll make us go through step by step, what all the signal, making sure it was all analog all the way to output. And I'm like, why?
I used to put no computer in my stream title frequently, and I stopped using it because people are like, well, those have microcontrollers inside of them, and those are computers, and you're using a computer to stream to Twitch.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm like, okay, I'll get rid of that.
I think
You're right.
that
Everything's a computer. My brain's a computer.
my brain
We're
is
all-
a computer. I think that is a vestige of just the time just before that we are now, and we all learned kind of by putting it out there into this present time that it's like no one cares about that. But it used to be something that you did have to, like, we only said those things because there was only digital.
Right. And we're trying to differentiate it in some way.
Yeah.
And I have no problems with the computer people. I have lots of friends who make great music and they own a MIDI controller.
Yeah, no
It's just
gatekeeping
not-
here. We don't care.
I want to kick the gate as far open as possible, take down the whole fence.
Yeah, take it all down. Exactly. Yeah, so that's kind of something I think that got even more reinforced from being part of this community on Twitch, that everyone was using DAWless as the term. And I was like, oh, we're allowed to use that again.
Yeah, right. And then, even that people will get up in arms about because they're like, that Poly and Play, it's an audio workstation and it is digital, so you're not really DAWless. And I'm like, what do you want me to say? What could I use to say that I'm not using Ableton Live? Not that there's anything wrong with it.
Right.
I see people with these incredible hybrid setups that are running a combination of Ableton Live and outboard gear. And
Those people
virtual
impress the
setups.
fuck out of me. I'm like,
And
one day I will understand.
like I got obsessed with I don't know if you're familiar with Circle, CERCLE. They're a French collective that films electronic musicians playing in insane exotic locations.
Okay.
Oh.
And I saw people in front of the pyramids using a modular synth and Ableton Live setup to play an hour-long set. I'll send you some links. It's incredible stuff. But that's what really got me into the idea of the hybrid setup. But I can't touch it. I don't want to.
Yeah,
I spent so many years working at a
Yeah.
computer
I need
that
the
I just
separation.
can't. As soon as I do anything but try to edit in a DAW, I feel like I'm opening Excel again, on a spreadsheet, and it's not fun for me.
Yeah, I really enjoy making music with hardware, like when we jam and stuff, and play live and improvise, or even generate ideas with another person. But what it's done, interestingly, is it's driven me back to the computer when I have my personal music time.
Sure.
Like my away from the Galaxy Electric
Almost
music
like a
time.
video.
Because
game
I always
time.
have to have a little shit that no one ever hears, music time for myself.
Oh, yeah.
And it's what's happened is making all this physical music with hardware has actually kind of driven me back to my computer to mess around now, which is interesting.
Well,
I never expected that would happen.
It can make you appreciate it because it's something a little bit different, and it changes your workflow, and it makes you think about things a little bit differently.
And there's a little bit of nostalgia involved because I'll use some older plugins from the early 2000s and stuff, and so.
See, and I love that we're in that era where you're like, oh yeah, I'm using vintage plugins on a G4. Oh wow.
Yeah.
I blinked and we were here,
it's
literally.
fun.
It's crazy. Yeah, we
But
finally
workflow
circled
is
back.
so much of it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool to be able to have this because I know my Thick Wickens workflow is much different than my Killer Bee Relay Team workflow. I go approach things from a totally different direction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I would say that each even album we do has a different approach, or
Right.
a different
Yeah.
just from the gear alone.
Yeah, that's a big part of it too, especially when you have a flux of gear and things coming in and out. From album to album, year to year, your sound can change a lot.
Yeah, I think that was another thing I was noticing about when I was checking out what have you released physically, right? Because I'm experiencing you through Twitch mostly.
Yeah, not a whole bunch really. Most of my music comes out through the band Thick Wickens. We have a CD that is out because we're going really old school.
I love it.
I thought it'd be fun. It comes with stickers and it's hand silk screened. So I thought it'd be
that's cool.
Different.
Yeah.
Our second EP just came out the end of last month and was available on vinyl, but that actually sold out.
Congrats! That's so cool.
Which is pretty exciting. And then we're working on a third thing that's either going to be cassette or mini disc.
Oh, nice.
Because I just got a mini disc recorder and I'm all about 10 media.
Oh, we
because
love
a lot
it.
of times people, you want to support a band and it's hard to buy something digital because you don't have anything to hold. And even if you, buy a CD and you never actually play it, you still have that physical thing that you can hold on to and look at.
Well, it
I
has
say
like the
that's in my-
artwork and yeah.
Yeah, like I have a big record collection.
Mm-hmm.
I still like that physical media. But as the Killer Bee Relay team, physically, I haven't really done much yet. I've started releasing every stream I record as part of my Patreon.
Oh, cool.
I just take out my talking over the stream.
Yeah.
And it's just the raw audio. So I have that, and I have a few different things that I'm working on because we talk about different workflows. Like I have an EP that I'm working on that's entirely done on the OP1 that I want to cut to those 5-inch records on that Teenage Engineering record cutter. And just release like that. And then I have like a modular record that I'm working on that I'm trying to find a label to release on vinyl, and then some more kind of straightforward dancey stuff that'll probably just be digital only. But physical media, releasing physical media is tough.
It right now for sure is
it's tough to get. I know, especially with vinyl, the turnaround, because I used to work in that industry too, and I know the turnaround times are insane. Like even our small run of records was supposed to be released at the end of January and got pushed to the beginning of May.
Yeah. I know that the last record we put out was in 2020, and we like just got in under the wire with getting into that queue for the vinyl, and I haven't tried since, but everybody I know is like, good luck. Can't even get anyone to give them like an order quote, like to get, they're like, we just aren't taking any orders.
Like the people that I know are talking sometimes 10 months to delivery. Yeah. Which I'm glad that there's a demand for it, at least.
I mean, I like that can't be bad, right?
But it's still kind of crazy that all these record presses existed at some point.
Well, that's the thing, is that we're in that weird in-between space of like, they all slowly shut down, and then the boom came and there's no plants anymore. So it's just a really weird spot to be in, that I thought we would have maybe more resurgence of people opening plants, but like even Jack White can't get people to open more plants.
Right. And now people are moving to cassettes again. Yeah. Which is
round we go, on the spinning ball.
Oh yeah. Obama's weed man's talking about the teenage engineering table.
Oh God, not the table.
I was talking to a friend like 2 years ago, and I swear I predicted it. I was like, Teenage Engineering is going to release a $1,200 noise table.
I think I heard you say this, or you put it somewhere.
Because it was a $1,600 noise table.
Right, yeah.
It's 60. I didn't even look at the price. I didn't even care.
It's a $1,600 table that can hold a maximum of 165 pounds. It does not fold.
It doesn't fold?
It does not fold.
Who is this for? And it's sold out, right?
Probably.
I assumed that it folded, and like hearing that it doesn't fold, like that's how much I've looked into this thing, but hearing that it doesn't fold is like appalling.
I am in shock right now.
It screws together with M5 screws and an aluminum frame.
What is this, like 1965? I need the table, the card table.
Oh my God. The grandparents going into the garage for the card table. Oh my God.
I went to Walmart. I found the folding table. You can get 32 of them instead of the Teenage Engineering table. You build an entire stage out of them.
Let's do it. Oh my God.
That's so funny.
Yes. We're buying 32 folding tables.
Teenage Engineering's tough because I used to see them as a company that made some things that were expensive but good. Like my partner got me the original OP1 for a milestone birthday a couple of years ago. It's great. It's such a cool little piece of kit. The pocket operators, amazing, fun. I don't know if you've ever played with one. Like it's like a toy, but it makes music, and they're really neat.
I haven't played with one personally, but friends of mine have like sworn by them. So
yeah, I have 3 of them.
Sweet.
They're a blast. For the money, you really can't beat the amount of fun that you can get out of it. I have the arcade one, which is all chiptune sounds.
Oh, right.
I have the Mega Man themed one, and then I have the Tonic, which is just a drum machine. And they're great.
Wow.
But then some of their speakers that are super expensive, I get as an art piece, whatever. But when they came out with the OP1 Field, and it seemed to me to just be a bunch of things that could have been firmware updates, like I use Arturia as a comparison. They released the Micro Freak,
Yeah.
and then released the Micro Freak vocoder edition, and we're like, oh hey, by the way, this is just a firmware update, and if you already have a Micro Freak,
Yeah.
you already have the vocoder edition.
Dude.
Just buy this $30 microphone.
Dude, that's the way to do it.
And I'm like, that's how you should do it,
Yeah.
instead of doubling your price and releasing something that's a little bit different. And then the table came out.
The table.
And-
This is
and,
epic.
like, that little mixer is really cool, but it's just super expensive, and it's too rich for my blood.
Well, you talked about the record cutter too.
It's like a little. It's a skosh too small, in my opinion.
Yeah, I have big hands, so it'd be tough for me.
I
to
as
use.
well.
I like my giant mixer that I use.
Mm-hmm.
And then the record cutter, which is a really cool thing. But I bought one of those and realized immediately afterwards that it was a copy, like
Yes.
a direct copy of another cheaper product.
It is.
So I sold my Teenage Engineering one and bought one of the cheaper ones.
Nice.
With the profit, because everybody wanted
It's
the Teenage
literally
Engineering one for prestige.
It's the exact one.
Yeah,
They just literally put their name on it.
Another streamer and I, DJ Joey, actually had a co-stream where he built the Teenage Engineering one and I built the Gakuen one.
Oh my god,
And
I
we
wish I had seen that.
We compared the two side by side, and the only thing other than a revision of 0.1 difference on a circuit board, everything else was just color.
And just
the
the fact that they
magazine-
exist now.
Yeah, and the magazine, well, you can still get the original Japanese.
That's
magazine.
right. That's right.
And they're like less than $100.
Yeah.
The only
That's crazy.
difference is the color, and the magazine that you get isn't English. So if you don't speak Japanese, you're going to miss out on some content.
Okay.
But you can find a PDF of the English version, so it's not a big deal.
Oh, you figured it out. But this is right up your street anyway, of something you would be
And
able to figure out.
It's a really cool machine. Like, I love that I have a little record lathe at home, and I want to do something with it, but at the same time, it's so precious. I haven't cut any records yet.
Yeah.
It needs to be something special.
It has to be the right thing. Yeah.
Yeah,
For
it
that.
needs to be lo-fi and mono,
Exactly.
which doesn't really apply to most of what I do, because I love something that's really wide in your headphones. Huge stereo space.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So that would be talking about workflows. Like, this happens to us a lot. Is like you'll have something like that inspires you, but it would require you to go out of your workflow.
Yeah, and that could be fun. It could also be something where you just have to say, this is too far out of my workflow and I'm not going to do this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But part of what I like about Twitch is being pulled out of my comfort zone.
Oh, cool.
Like, I have redeems for the Golden Shrimp Guild strategy cards. I don't know if you've
We
gotten
love
a deck of those yet.
I don't have them yet, but they were part of that last SYNTH stream. So
Yeah, they're super fun. I have the Oblique Strategies deck
nice.
as well that people can pull from. I also will do things like, they'll make me put a Shrek mask on, or I have a toy fish that I can throw on my modular that'll just start to hit things randomly.
Mm.
And I really like being pulled out of my comfort zone in that way, like forcing myself to try something new. If I was just here by myself, I'd be doing the same crap all the time.
Yes. No, the feedback from chat is like, and also seeing what other people are doing and being in their streams. Like, all of that is like this feedback loop that you're like, I came up with this, and then you're like, wait, no, that's definitely
Right.
from chat or from someone else's stream.
Yeah. Make Mistakes says the Ghost Hack. I have a whole bunch of Christopher Ghost Hack MIDI loops loaded onto my one sequencer, and people can choose the loop set number, whatever, and then suddenly have to build a song around somebody else's loops. Just things to make you think a little bit differently.
Yeah, that's really cool, because you talked about how when you start your stream, you're just starting from scratch. You're not bringing any forethought into it, and then the whole thing is the experience of what people are redeeming, or what they're asking for in the chat.
What kind of mood I'm in, what people are redeeming, what I listen to that day.
Right.
I'll have friends DM me and say, "Oh, it'd be really cool if you did this thing this evening," and you're like, "All right, yeah, I'll give that a shot. Why not?"
That's cool that you're getting that kind of feedback from people. It means that you're
I think it's amazing.
letting
the
people
back and
know you're
forth.
open to it. Yeah.
As someone who's been, making music in a room by yourself for years
Mm-hmm.
in this way, having that feedback and that back and forth, and just other people who are into what you're doing, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, you're right. It's like we can't shut up about it. So like,
Yeah.
of course we're going to be telling each other what we think. Have you tried this? Have you tried that? Like, because I was just thinking of like, what other kind of scene that I've been in that has been like that? I can't think of one.
And what kind of scene would receive it so well?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Oh yeah, I'll throw
I
that
could've-
in this week, you know? Like, no, we have a set. You can't change it.
Right. Like, no, I've been practicing all these times. What are you talking about? No,
Mhm.
this is the order they go in. Yeah. And it's... I'm trying to think of another scene where you could just come up to someone and say, hey, have you thought about doing it this way? And have that person be like, no, I haven't. Thank you. Let's give it a shot.
Yeah. That was very, very special to this whole experience because, again, as we all already know, there's something so weird about Twitch where we want this, like, it's just happening experience. Like, we don't want the concert.
No, you want something that's more personal than that and just as ephemeral. It's going to be over. It's going to be gone. Like, we were here. We had this moment, all of us, in all over the world, wherever we're coming from. And we had that. Now it's gone until, tomorrow or next week or whenever you happen to be streaming again.
That's such a good point because I feel like it sort of, if you will, synthesizes the experience of when we were kids and you would just kind of like, well, this was my personal experience. You would run around the neighborhood and see who's home to play.
Yeah. I totally get it.
And that's what would happen.
For sure.
And then tomorrow, another thing. You would find someone else or different, you know? And nobody was like, let's make sure we record this and keep track of what we played and we'll make sure we pick up where we left next time. Like, no.
The game was pretty good, but we should play it differently in these ways next time.
I mean, there were some neighborhood football games for me that carried on like that, I would say.
Oh yeah, that sometimes
we would keep score. Yeah, we'd be like, all right, dinner, like come back the next day.
Yeah, but how many times did you actually keep to it? Like,
oh, we were serious. My neighborhood, like competitive.
Oh,
yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I grew up running around in the woods pretty
cool.
much by myself.
Sweet.
So I didn't have that neighborhood football game.
I didn't either. That was very special.
I definitely grew up in a neighborhood with a lot of kids, so that was like definitely a fun aspect.
I would say like, I don't want to say a rigid percentage, but there was a good portion of the time when I was running around looking for somebody and that answer was nobody. So I'm not saying it was always happening.
I've lived in those neighborhoods
sometimes
too.
You're like, and back home, but you feel accomplished because you ran around a little bit.
Yeah, you did the lap.
You took the lap.
You put in the effort.
It's all right. I'll just, go play my NES for a while by myself.
My neighborhood in high school was a ghost town. It was like a retirement community in Florida, so like it was really boring. Like I was one of like
seniors meant something totally different.
Yeah. I was like one of like 3 or 4 kids like around my age, so it got its revenge on me when I got older.
How dare you have a community of childhood friends that you get to play football with? How dare you?
Shame on me. Shame on me.
Yeah. You're going to learn what it really takes to make friends out in this harsh world now.
Yeah, getting along with
But yeah, no synth friends in our lives
the elderly
until much later. And like synth meetup culture was
we did do a physical one in Brooklyn. That was the origin of it, really, if you think about it. We had a little synth meetup that we would like post about on Facebook. And it was very infrequent and very ill-attended.
Well, it felt so massively attended because people were bringing their full modular rig, so it was like the room was full.
Oh well, yeah, because we had a really small space that we actually had. Yeah, there was more gear than people.
Well, that's how it should be.
Yeah, a lot more gear than people.
But to be real,
like, space-wise,
it was a wild thing because like people would be like not super like sure about it. Like scope it. Like, should I bring my synth? Should I not? And then they get there and you realize this is the coolest thing ever because everyone has a different rig or has a module we were looking at online or whatever, and we all get to see how people are using it. But this obviously Twitch is like taking that to the more
you
degree,
can't physically be there to interact with other people's stuff, though. People are working on it or something close to it. I've seen those synth meetups. They have them around here, like the modular on the spot, and I haven't taken that leap yet. For some reason, it's very intimidating.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're like, well, if I'm going to go, this is like, I need to have my purpose. I need to know like what I really want to get out of this, because like it's not a small thing to like bring your shit and show up to that.
Right. And then whereas I come from like a everything's totally improv, whatever falls out of me kind of thing, which is long form. And that's another thing about Twitch is that you're not going to a show and watching a band play for 4 hours.
Oh.
I mean, depends on your scene.
Yeah.
Sometimes you are going to a show and seeing a band. I've been to some of those shows. But generally speaking, they're coming in and, like you said before, they're playing a set.
Mm-hmm.
So taking that and translating it to something like modular on the spot, I'm like, oh man, I'm going to have patch ready to go before I get there? Like, I don't know. This is
a really good point. I'm really glad you brought this up because I hadn't actually even thought about this before. When we first started doing this Dallas jamming stuff, we were doing it by ourselves in a room. Nobody's there. No one knows we're doing it, right? Because we were like, this is weird, but we feel kind of pulled towards it. Let's see what happens. And what we found is that it wasn't necessarily the result of what we did that we enjoyed. It was like listening, like obviously in the moment, but like listening back, it was the journey of listening to ourselves find what we were doing and then maybe come out of it, you know?
It's like that process and evolution. You talk about that being in a band and saying, oh, okay, well, we should change these things. We should do this a little bit differently next time. It's the same sort of thing, but it's happening in a more linear, real-time fashion. Where like, I'm making these changes now. I'm doing this live. I'm working all the kinks out of this in real time with an audience. Like spinning plates.
Yeah. So like our dream while we were doing that was like, we felt this like, I think this is something. I think like us doing this in real time is something like having someone experience this with us, having an audience experience this with us while we're doing it could be something. But it took us like years to get to a place where we felt like comfortable doing that. And then once we got on Twitch, it was like, oh, I wish I had done this years ago.
Like I remember thinking like, should I invite a couple people from work?
Like, we're like, should someone see this or should we test this out? Like, I don't know who to take this to.
Feeling the first time a coworker shows up in the chat. Like I remember I had a coworker sub to me very early on in my Twitch career, and I'm like, what are you doing here? Don't tell anyone I do this.
Yes.
Like, how did you even find me?
Oh wow, that's pretty insane.
That's impressive.
Like, that's pretty cool.
That's really cool. Obviously, they were like they've been waiting for the alert that you've joined.
Right, and then it turned out that they're like, oh yeah, I'm a big electronic music fan. Like I've seen Carl Cox 20 times. Like,
wow.
I go to all these raves. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, yeah. What?
And you would never have known if it wasn't for Twitch.
Twitch logo. Thank you, Jeff Bezos.
I know, right? Yeah, that was the feeling I had because like we were doing it alone, and then I was like, we should probably like record and film this or something so that we can kind of like see what we're even doing. Like, is this something? And then I started taking clips from that and putting it on old Instagram when it was still just a photo platform, and I was like forcing it to post these videos. And then we started finding people who were like, yes, keep doing this. And I was like, what? Okay. But that's so different. Finding that little clip to post to try to find people who might like what you're doing is so different from an audience of people who are going to sit through the whole long form experience and want to see what you did to get there.
And are actually interested in your transitions. Like they're excited for the moment that you're going to possibly fuck it up. I mean, screw it up.
Yeah. It's Dallas transitions like that. That's the real art form. How do you transition from one thing to another?
Yeah, because we're DJs, man.
On a transition.
Yeah, that is sort of like the ultimate.
Yeah, that when people ask for a track ID, I'm like, I have to come up with a name.
That's hilarious.
Right, yeah.
Oh, right, because the DJ culture is all about track ID. Oh my gosh, that's funny. I'll make mistakes. That's so nice of you to say. I feel that way too. That's what we try to say. Like Synth Friends, this stream that we call Synth Friends is supposed to feel like if we were jamming together, but it's a conversation. I feel like I'm like
feels.
I feel like I should have like a jazz hat on when I say that.
Yeah.
That's a conversation.
Hey. Oh, it's funny.
I know. I love to state the obvious.
Yeah, Make Mistakes is another one of my synth friends.
Yes.
He's been working on a modular setup. and getting going with his gear too. It's really cool to, as someone who's been doing this for the vast majority of my life, it's great to be able to share that knowledge with people who are passionate about it, who are maybe, much newer to it. Because I'm like, yeah, please, this is how you make the same mistakes.
There you go.
This is how you go down that same road.
Right.
It's a journey. It's definitely Lord of the Rings-esque.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There's flux. There are trolls. There are rings that I wish I had not thrown into the flames of Mordor.
I could just have them back. No, that's so true, because that was another thing that we found through being on Twitch, is that, like, I just assumed everybody who's into synths has them. Nobody new's coming in the door. Not true.
Not true.
Not even close. Are you looking at me like I didn't know you thought that?
No, I was just, I'm amazed as well.
Oh,
like,
okay. Yes, we're all just still like in the aftershock of realizing.
I'm sort of like, oh my gosh, I know.
Yeah, sorry. You had this like look that I was like, what did I do?
Oh no, I didn't mean that. Was not.
As someone who's just kind of always done this.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Who haven't always done this, who want to do this.
You had one of those emote faces, right?
Who don't know that it's easy to get into. Like, just do it. I mean, but you could do it with software, which is inexpensive or free if you already have a computer. And once you get the hardware, just like get a synth and play with it. And if you don't like it, sell it.
Yeah.
And then get another one.
Yeah.
It's easy. You just have to do it.
It's easy. Just start. Just do it. I think that that should be the official motto of being into synths, is just do it.
Just grab that cutoff knob, turn it.
Yeah.
I know, I do. I feel the same way about Twitch, though. It's like the amount of time most people spend wondering if they should start getting into synths or get onto Twitch is like years. And then once you start, you're just like, oh, I should have done this 100 years ago.
Yeah. For me, it was pretty instantaneous. I played one Twitch gig on someone else's channel.
Right.
Like, holy shit, I love this, and I want to do this all of the time.
That's amazing.
But there's so much that goes into it. Like, at that point, I didn't have a computer that could stream video.
Exactly.
I recorded audio on that computer. I didn't need a decent video card. I didn't have a camera for this. Like, I had a crappy old GoPro. And a faux pro. I call it a GoPro, but it cost me $20. It's not a GoPro. I call it a faux pro. And just learning, like, okay, nowadays as musicians, we need to not only be a musician and write our stuff, we need to record our stuff, we need to mix our stuff. Half the time we're mastering it. We're promoting it ourselves, we're handling our own distribution. It's like, oh, now I need to run my own video studio and come up with camera angles and placements and direct my stream and come up with scenes. And as someone who loves gear and tinkering, that's great. But for a lot of other people, I can see how that could be super, super daunting.
No, seriously, I'm saying this as like that was my thing. Like I spent like way longer going, I don't know, cameras, I'll never. And then like as soon as I just decided to just go for it, it was like, oh, that was so easy. I should have just done
so many streams that are just somebody with an iPhone leaned up against a book pointing at their gear, and it looks and sounds great. You don't have to have something super polished. And that's another thing I think is great about it. There's such a wide gamut of styles, whether it's musically or even stream wise. You have the conversational people, you have the instructional people, you have the no microphone people, the it's just my hands and a piece of gear people. There's just so much. Everybody can find their thing.
It's true. Somebody recently told me, this isn't necessarily synth related, but that there's a whole category on Twitch of people who are out in the world doing crazy shit and streaming. Like you can watch people like doing outdoor adventure type stuff or traveling.
Oh yeah.
Like, holy cow.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. I'm so worried about how many bars I had.
I know, right? That's a whole different kind of gear setup. Talk about setup.
Right.
You're like wearing the camera on your head and you have to make sure you have backup Wi-Fi shit and batteries, and I can't even, it's a whole lifestyle.
Just before this stream, actually, picked up a battery so that I could start doing mobile synth stuff. because I want
Cool.
to take it out to the woods and see if I can. And I'm definitely worried about making that setup work.
Mhm.
I'm comfortable here at home with my multiple USB ports. Goes along
Right.
with it.
Yeah. The luxury.
No, I applaud you for that because it is like a comfort zone thing. And I do think it's cool that there's this sort of, well, doing this is something outside of my comfort zone that I want to do, but I know that like if something of this works out, I will have some way to share this and that will be like worth doing it, you know?
Yeah. And it's that
Motivation.
sharing. Even when I have a bad stream, it's that sharing that makes it worth it.
Mhm.
Like, not that I'm like, oh, I'm never going to do this again. But sometimes you have those days where you're like, why did I even log on? But
Why did I
just
log
sharing
on?
it and having people who appreciate it, regardless of what you're doing, is pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. Like those are such minor moments compared to all the good stuff that happens.
And
I
they
do
generally are internal moments that only you are experiencing. Because I've had plenty
1,000%.
of times where I'm like, oh, it was a total train wreck, and I come back and somebody messaged me on Discord like, oh man, that transition 1 hour in was awesome. And I'm like, oh,
Right.
the one where I
Exactly.
totally herfed it and did a terrible job. That
Yeah.
might next time.
Yeah.
I love
The
when
day you feel bad, you're gonna get a transition compliment.
I was gonna say it's always that like someone will specifically compliment you for the thing that you're like beating yourself up about.
Like, oh wait, that's good. I've been trying to avoid it.
Yeah, exactly. I do. I always love being reminded that Justin TV is what Twitch actually was when it started.
It's
As
crazy.
Yopo was saying. And I didn't know this. You actually had to follow Justin? Like Justin was a person? Is that a joke?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. It's amazing. It's like the
I'm-
MySpace Tom.
Yeah.
Two years ago, I'm like, wait, no, I don't play Call of Duty. I'm not allowed on Twitch. So that's news to me.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, we learned that from Danielle Armad, who's been here since Justin TV.
I remember Justin TV. I just didn't remember that was the start of Twitch. I guess
Right?
that was like when you joined MySpace and you had to be friends with Tom.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah. It was the dude whose life was being streamed. What?
Oh, that makes
That's
sense
why
though.
it
Why
was
would it
called
be called
Justin
TV?
TV.
But then it was available to everyone? I don't know
Well,
the history. I don't know how.
I knew about
it works.
Justin TV streaming the life of Justin, whose last name, last I checked, was not TV. But you can't quote me on that. But I didn't know that was the beginning of Twitch.
I love learning this. So, because it makes me think about, not to go too off on a tangent, but there's this documentary that someone made us watch about the guy who claims that he like
Somebody made us
he
watch.
like invented like live streaming and reality TV like
Okay.
in what
Yeah,
like
yeah.
1998 or something like that.
That dude.
I
yeah.
forget what this documentary is called, but he was like throwing parties in like big warehouses, I think in New York, and live streaming it. And then he just started 24/7 live streaming his life and like just like ruined his life by doing this. But
Yeah, I streamed my life 24/1, and it was a stretch.
yeah. It was like everyone in his life was just like losing it over having to be on camera all the time and like just the
Yeah.
whole experiment and just how much he was into this. Like, this is so important. We need to be doing this. I'm changing the world, you know?
For better or for worse.
Yeah, exactly. But like, it makes me think about that because
James.
that's exactly it. So it makes me wonder if Justin knew that guy or it's just like one of those concurrent, everyone had the same idea at the same time.
That good old parallel thought.
I love it. But that just blow, like, we are here because some dude named Justin was like, I want everybody to watch my life. Like, what? What was
Why don't
it?
you
What
watch
was
me
so cool
stream
about
this on my
Justin?
tiny little Logitech camera.
I
The
can't
little
even
one we had back in
imagine.
the 90s.
I can't even imagine. Joey, welcome in.
Hey, Joey.
Aw, are we really 2 hours in? Oh my god. Literally, I haven't even noticed the time, which just proves that time flies when you're having fun. You're a terrible friend. No.
No,
Not
you're
at
great,
all.
Joey.
We love you. You
Yeah.
didn't have to follow Justin. It's just that Justin TV is literally just him. Just Justin streaming.
Just him TV.
But then I'm wondering, so like he was like, oh, other people will want to do this. I'll let them. That seems so weird to me.
Yeah, that does seem odd.
That's
But
the thing
they're
I'm
good.
really like wanting to learn more about is like, I get that Justin TV is how it started, and I get that we're here now, but like,
How did we get there?
Yeah.
what made Justin go, yeah, I want to see other people's lives too? Because I would imagine if
And
you
what
were,
made everybody else go, me?
yeah, like maybe he was like, oh, doing this with other people is more fun than just by myself. Oh, these are all Silicon Valley dudes backed by VC money. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. That story checks out.
That checks out. Doesn't sound anything like today at all.
No. Could not be further.
It tends to be the answer to every time I have a question of like, how is this a thing?
Like, money.
That's the answer, is the VC money. It's like, that doesn't seem like a business model that is actually sustainable. What is going, oh, VC money. Got it.
Yeah,
they're actually trying to lose money, actually. They want it to fail. Oh, Justin Kahn. Okay, sorry. There's just so much chat that I'm like, I feel like I started this and I need to make sure that I don't ignore
Justin
everyone.
Kahn is his name? That can't be right. I guess that's why I couldn't get Justin.com. I had to go with Justin.tv.
Justin Kahn. I'm like, the fact that this isn't a person we all actually really know and isn't like the face of the internet is blowing my mind too. I'm like, what hole did he fall into? Where is he?
Yeah, I definitely have my research brush.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And so then like it got turned into a gaming platform. So that also is a missing piece for me too.
Yeah. I guess that was just what people were streaming and it took off. I really don't know because
because if you're streaming your day and all you do is play video games.
Right.
Oh, that makes perfect sense to me, actually. Don't get me started on real world.
Pro gamers do it, Yoho. I don't know how those pro gamers do it.
Like, is that okay? Sorry, I didn't know that was actually like a pro gamer is actually a thing, a phrase, a word. Okay, I should know that. I'm on Twitch.
The people bringing in the real Twitch dollars, they're just playing Fortnite all day.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, everyone's playing Fortnite.
I mean, myself included, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, sweet. We haven't done any gaming yet because we don't, again, it's that barrier of like, I don't have the thing to do it, I don't know how, so I'll just never look into it or do it.
It's tough too because you want to keep your streams kind of cohesive, and
that's true.
What I found is that like people want to come to my stream for music or building crap.
Yeah.
And they maybe, I'm not really going to capture a new audience playing Fortnite.
Right.
I'll just do it for fun with the people that I play music for.
Yeah, I was gonna say if your audience is like down for it, then that makes sense. But don't do it to try to be like, oh, I'll also somehow trick people who want to watch me play Fortnite into staying for my improv streams.
Right. That was my 24-hour stream.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Normally I wouldn't do that sort of thing.
That makes perfect sense.
One of the great things about Twitch is that you can find that specific audience and really find that niche.
Right. You don't have to try everything, do every type of thing. You can just stick to who you are specifically. And it just works out. I don't know why.
It just does. I think it all comes down to a vibe.
I'm all about
seen
vibes.
Some music streamers who didn't do very well.
Oh.
It's because they weren't very personable. And they weren't very welcoming, and they just didn't hold a space that people wanted to be a part of. And I think, particularly with the synth crowd and the Golden Shrimp Guild people, is that everybody's just like nice and social and able to like have a space where you can communicate with other people and nobody's being a jerk, and it's just generally positive.
So I think what you're trying to say is if you come to Twitch to use it as a concert platform, that is not going to light up your audience in chat. But if you come here to actually have interactions with people, you're going to have a good time.
I'm like, if you want to watch a concert video, that's what YouTube is for.
Yeah.
If you want to interact with, a musician or an artist or whoever else while they're doing the thing that they do, that is what Twitch is for. Twitch shows you how the sausage is made. Puts you inside of the sausage. Sometimes you're part of the sausage.
I am the sausage.
I am the sausage.
Oh my god, that's amazing. Oh, I was gonna say, Yopo kept bringing up Real World, and I just wanted to ask if you already know that that's my second favorite thing after synths. So I didn't know if you were bringing that up intentionally.
Good to know.
Not like because I like it, but because during the pandemic, I decided we were gonna watch all of it from the beginning.
Oh.
I'm also a massive fan.
So it became an anthropological study that I'm doing at this point. That I'm not
getting.
getting.
I totally get that. Yeah, from that standpoint,
yes,
that's how it should be. And not only the people themselves, but the evolution of the show from its beginnings. Let's see what happens when we put all these people together to like hot tub fuck fest show.
Literally, like that was what I was expecting to see because that's what I kind of remembered from like tuning in whenever it was randomly on. That evolution, but like then we like kept going. Like it's still, it goes all the way to 2015.
Okay.
And by the time that like 2010s era, it becomes some other sort of weird experiment that you're just like, what am I even watching? So that's been blowing my mind that they still continue to evolve to a place that's just absolutely psychotic.
We could go into detail.
That's not what this stream is for. But you brought it up a few times. Yopo brought it up a few times when we were talking about live streaming. The success.
That's for the stream when people stop talking sense and start being real.
Yeah. Talk about having dreams. When we were watching that a lot, when we were really binging through it, I was like, my brain was doing weird stuff in my dreams. Because it's so weird. Because like, I will say this one thing. By the end, they start showing the production side of it.
A lot more.
And you start seeing the way that the fact that a camera's in that person's face in that moment.
Right, which is something you don't really think about.
You get a whole different perspective on the experience. Like, talk about Truman Show and all that stuff. Like, it really is. It's like they turned the lights on in the club.
Who's your friend's sister? We definitely know them.
No way. I've seen every episode, know every single person. Jamie from San Diego.
What?
Jamie.
Wait.
Is your friend's sister? Like Jamie
from the
first San Diego, who's like a famous person now.
Or Jamie from the New Orleans season, who I think was from San Diego or something.
Okay. We'll have to talk about this in the Discord. I need a real world channel in the Discord. But yeah, that was just like the weird nostalgia loop that I was on at the time.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. She's like really, really successful and famous.
Real Jamie from
San Diego,
yeah.
Funny, Yopo.
Oh, her sister is someone you know. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely.
That's
like she was cool. I would call her like the first influencer actually.
Mm-hmm.
She is like, okay, so this is like, we've already gone so far. My anthropological study is, what do people do with it? What happens to them after?
Yeah. When they go back to the real world.
What's the real world like for them after? And Jamie is like one of the first people and one of the only, before there was like a formula for it, who took it and was just like unbothered. How she was on the show was great. No weird stuff. She looks awesome. She becomes an actress. She's an influencer. She's like selling, doing brand deals and all this kind of stuff, right? Like that is like the actual path for if you're going to be on reality TV.
Got to take advantage.
You better have 1 million followers on Instagram. You're doing brand deals, all this kind of stuff. So yeah, she's just like, seems like a really nice person, but she was like the first person to do that and like blew up in the like pre-Instagram era. And so like she's living the high life. I can't believe I know this. I don't know her. It's not a parasocial relationship. It's research, I promise. Oh,
glad she avoided that dumpster fire. That's good.
That's probably why, because there's different paths for people. Yapo, like we might need to have our own call for this. If you're gonna throw Eric Nice at me, like just don't even.
Yeah.
The 90s era of Real World syncs up really nicely with this early electronic dance music stuff we were talking about earlier.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's like a nice crossover. Like when you go back to watch 90s MTV stuff, the music in the shows is so good.
Yeah.
And you can't get that now on streaming. They take it out. You have to watch the VHS tapes.
It's the worst. You watch all the old
Which
stuff
we
in that
have.
era. And it was at this time when the internet existed, so they knew that they didn't want you to use it on the internet, but they didn't know why. And all the music from Everything Good is gone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like one of the sadnesses I have. Because I don't have too many about living in the future and being able to connect like this. But one of the sadnesses is a very deep one related to the music that pairs with the visuals that gets lost.
It's revisionist history.
Yes! They're rewriting it.
But it's also super sick to watch the old seasons. They're chock full of all the songs that you knew from high school.
I will never forget. There's an episode in the Seattle season in 1998, and the Radiohead song comes on. It's like the first time they ever played it was on that. Because it was prime time, tune in to Real World tonight, and we're going to premiere the Radiohead song.
And it's like, okay, computer.
It's this like amazing moment that's happening on the show, and then that song comes on, and I'm just like, I can't imagine.
The single, I forget the name of it.
I can't imagine them plugging some random like computer music into this moment.
Yeah.
It wouldn't.
Which is what it is now. It's all,
AI generated.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Something on Universal.
Oh yeah, exactly. If they own it, they'll use it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, Yapo, you're really you're lighting me up.
Yeah, he's all over it.
This is too much for me. I can't handle this. This is we're gonna
1 second.
Oh yeah, take your time. We always say on this stream, and we'll do some production here and we'll bring you back. We'll let Mike do what he's gonna do and come back. Sorry, I'll stop. No, we'll do it while he's gone. Okay.
It's gonna turn into a Discord. You know that. This is cruising for a Discord.
So like I actually have a collection of screenshots. This is crazy. So as we rewatched all these episodes, we did it on my computer because I had to get it from someone, who had the files because they ripped them from the VHSs because that's the only thing I wanted. I didn't want to rewatch some stream version.
But we found them.
And so I got somebody who now has like wiped themselves from the internet. Can't
find them. They got found.
So right before that happened, I got all the seasons of Real World that you can't get. And while we watch them on my laptop, I'll screenshot things. He's back. We're doing our little Real World tangent real quick. So yeah, I have all these screenshots from all the episodes we watched because we did them on my laptop. And I have like a folder of these amazing, hilarious screenshots because I always watch with captions on, of course.
Oh, of course.
And they don't make sense to anyone. So like, where am I putting this? Am I making an Instagram just to post these screenshots? No, it's going to be my Discord channel. All right. Thank you, Yapo, for making me feel seen.
If Tumblr was still around in its purest form, there would be a Tumblr for that.
That is perfect. Oh my gosh!
It's
you just got a good sub.
Thank you for the sub.
It's the one that opens up with like a guitar arpeggio. It's like I can't like recreate it, but like I don't know. I think it's Paranoid Android.
Oh! You're trying to figure out which Radiohead song?
Single, if I'm not mistaken, but it's like that.
That's a good record. I was super into Radiohead, and then I stopped being into Radiohead as much, and now I just am kind of into Radiohead.
That's the same trajectory we had.
Like after I saw them at Bonnaroo in 2006, I was like, okay, I can't really do any better than this with Radiohead, so it's time to move on.
Same.
Dude,
we saw them at the Nissan Pavilion in like 2006, I think, as well, or 7.
8.
Yeah, 8. It was 2008, that's right.
In Rainbows?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
That was during. I saw them again after that show too. Because I told all my friends, I'm like, I feel like to see this with fewer than 60,000 other people. So
yeah.
Let's see the local version of it. Great. That was when they were really at their peak as a band.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of like downhill from there. King of Limbs wasn't quite as good. Moon Shaped Pool. Did anybody even listen to that record?
I don't know. I don't think anyone did. I think what happened is that everyone started peeling off to Tom York's solo projects.
Yeah.
And then everyone was like, well, I actually kind of like this right now better than anything Radiohead was doing.
Yeah. And then that was right around the time where they were really getting into synths to bring the synth conversation full circle. There's that rumor that right around OK Computer days, they bought the entire Warp Records catalog to listen to. And they were like, "Oh man, have you ever heard electronic music before?" Hear these?
I've
That's
heard that. I've
exactly
heard
what
that
happened.
story. I will confirm that rumor. I've
That's
definitely heard
exactly
that
it.
as well, and always.
I've heard it too. I don't know how you prove that sort of thing,
Yeah.
but I've heard the same rumor. And as someone who was also obsessed with Warp Records, like I was totally fine with that.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, shit. If I like just started listening to Aphex Twin all of a sudden, like I would,
I would think I
freak
invented
out
music
and
too.
buy a bunch of synths as well. Like,
Yeah, if you just started listening to Aphex Twin and had more money than you could count,
yeah, I would just,
definitely pick up
I would buy them all.
Take one of each.
At 1990s prices.
I love it. We're all like, yeah, I mean, I like Radiohead. That's about all you're gonna get out of us at this
And
point.
we've talked about them.
They were my favorite band for a long time. But then I just kind of over this.
See, they weren't my favorite band for a long time. Like, I have a lot of friends like that are around my age that it was their favorite, and like it wasn't mine.
Well, you felt like you couldn't say that though.
But I felt like I couldn't say that. Yeah, like it was like it was uncool to not have Radiohead be your favorite band in my camp. So I had to defend myself.
Especially like being cool was very important.
It
was
was.
big. Like people would like pretend at this point it's more like, no, I don't like that. So who cares?
Exactly.
But back then there was a lot more, or maybe it was just that we were all younger. And it was easier.
Maybe it's the same for young kids, and now that we're old, we give so less fucks.
Maybe they're pretending. But I don't know where I was getting at with that.
I don't know. I think just there is a lot that can come from just bringing up Radiohead.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, it's people definitely have an opinion. That's for sure.
Well, you have to. It's required. You have to. Like we say Radiohead, and you have to put in the chat what you think of them.
And Yopo's absolutely right. Kid A is the best Radiohead album. That's the album that really got me into them, because as someone who was like a drummer who was also into electronic music, I constantly lived in two worlds. There was the bleepy bloopy stuff and the guitars and drums and singer stuff, and there was very, very little overlap, which is how I ended up getting into like industrial music and how you ended up like listening to Stabbing Westward in the 90s.
Yes.
These bands that are just like kind of trying to shoehorn it together. And then, yeah, Idiotech is a perfect example. That whole record, though, like they pull it off. And they combine the two kinds of music. So when that dropped, I was obsessed with it. And then obsessed with the band afterwards for a decade or so.
Yeah, I really like Kid A as well. Kid A got me.
Is good too.
Because of course, like everybody knows them from Creep. Just because they were like on the MTV and everything.
I literally heard an acoustic female cover of Creep, or not acoustic, acapella.
Mm-hmm. Oh, in like
in
a movie
TV
trailer
show.
or something.
Yeah.
Movie
all
trailer
slowed
version.
down.
And it was like nauseating, right?
Yeah. I was like, oh god, this is where we are.
When I think about Radiohead and that song, I think about when I saw them at Bonnaroo, and Beck played two bands before them.
Oh wow!
And played a cover of Creep.
Oh my god!
And he was like, I guarantee you, no other band is going to play this song tonight. And they played Creep.
The nerve! But Beck would do that.
That's hilarious, though.
Oh, and they didn't play Creep.
They didn't.
No,
they won't.
No. Well, Tom York wouldn't have played it because Beck played it.
He would have especially not. But I know that was already a thing in that era that they didn't play that song live.
Right, because it's
this isn't who we really are.
Nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, this made us famous, but don't ask us to play it. It's not who we are.
That's why I never played bands.
Yeah, there's just too much of that. Like, I don't know what it's I don't know what it's like to be Radiohead and to be that successful and be touring for that many years. I imagine it gets old. Yet, right. But Beck gives the right kind of zero fucks, yeah. I'm sure he felt confident to do that because I'm sure he knows them.
Yeah.
I dug the Eraser. I haven't listened to Smile. Or The Smile. I think it's The Smile. Is it The Smile or Smile?
It's The.
It's The. It's a The Smile.
It's a
The Smile.
Or it's Smile Official.
Yeah, that's right. There you go.
That's
Smile
amazing.
Official.
Oh my god,
UMG.
what a callback. That was amazing.
What I've heard of it's been pretty good. And is Johnny Greenwood part of that project too? Because I've liked Johnny Greenwood's solo stuff.
I want to say yes, and I think that's what it's sort of touting. Is
I
like,
have Tony.
hey,
I
you know
haven't
how
really-
you like
is Tony Allen on
Johnny?
drums?
I've
there?
assumed
We're
I won't like
We're
it.
obsessed with Tony. Yeah.
I know. Oh no. Well, that's the thing about being a Radiohead super fan, or not being a Radiohead super fan, being like a normal amount of fan of them, is that if you're not at the level of passion for Johnny Greenwood, you're just like, okay, I'll just not get that into it, because I'm not gonna.
Sure.
I want to have a more nuanced conversation with you about this. That's not gonna happen. Just gonna find another band.
Yeah, and there's that whole gatekeeping thing that is thankfully becoming a little less popular these days.
Seems to be. I'm sure it'll find a new way to exist.
Oh yeah.
Because it's just.
It always finds a way.
It always finds.
That sort of toxicity always finds a way.
Well, it's sort of that, matter can't be created or destroyed.
There you go.
So
yeah, it's the same thing with toxicity.
In music.
Toxic matter.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is all really coming back to the fact that there was a way things were, and then all of a sudden they weren't.
Yeah, there was a way things were, and then all of a sudden they weren't that way. And I'm into the new way.
Yeah.
I kind of prefer the new way.
Yeah.
I'm all right with the new way.
It's been a
The new
wild
way
ride
works
to
for
get
me.
here, though.
Oh yeah, and where we go from here is anyone's guess. But
Dude, everyone's
somewhere.
calling me a boomer. I'm being such a boomer on this stream, by the way. Like, I can't avoid it. I don't know what happened. I fell into a boomer
kids
hole.
nowadays with their
I can't.
computers and their tiki-talkies and their Insta chats and their Snapgrams.
Yeah, the Snapgrams really get me. Oh my gosh, that's funny. There's just so many platforms I haven't been on through all of this evolution.
Yeah. I mean, you never really know what's going to stick around, what's worth being on.
Yeah.
It
feels like
it's
betrayal
tough.
if you got like too hooked on one thing and thought like, this is going to be it for me.
Well, then, and also as someone, as a creator, it's hard to like make content for everything that's different and unique to that platform.
Oh,
And not making,
God.
hey everyone, watch this video that I made on Twitch, and then watch it again on Instagram, and then watch it again on YouTube, and then watch it again on TikTok, and then I'm gonna DM
Not
it
you
to
calling us out.
No, it's not. It's just it's like what you kind of have to do at this
No,
point.
you're so right. You're so
And
right.
as a consumer of media, I don't really mind it, but for some reason creating it,
Yeah.
I just feel icky.
It feels horrible because you just feel like there's every iteration something gets a little lost.
Yeah. And it's just not
Yeah.
when you try to use the same thing for multiple things, it's always just a little bit wrong for everyone.
It is. Oh my gosh. Yes. I've been feeling that so deeply lately of like, if I'm not doing it for the algorithm overlords of that platform, does it even, like, should I even, like this hamster wheel that I'm on, should I just jump off and not give a fuck and let squirrels like play my modulator? Like, leave me in the woods.
I'm thankful for some of the things that the algorithm has taught us. Like, it's great to be able to see those stats and to be able to see which hashtags are working. And
No,
getting
there's
people to
so
engage.
much good. Yeah, for
But
sure.
at the same time, sometimes I just want to jam, man.
Sometimes I just want to jam in a different aspect ratio than this platform wants me to post in.
Okay, now there's a thing that makes us seem like boomers is my utter refusal to shoot video this way.
I can't
Video
do
gets
it.
shot this way. I'm not doing it. I'm not shooting video this way.
Do you know how many years I spent filming this way? We
Openly
had
mocking
to.
those who did not.
Yeah. And now you want me
That
to
is
just
true.
act like that wasn't important, and now we could just do whatever we want and nothing matters?
And
One does fix that because that way it looks crap on
On every screen.
Right.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that's probably one of the most boomer things I've said. I don't know. I guess it's like, it's the most millennial thing I've said, and like that's becoming boomer.
Yeah, that's what's wild.
Sorry,
It's like
everybody.
the Zoomers.
Yeah.
The Zoomers are like, what, you can't do that TikTok dance in one take? You're old.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, what's a TikTok dance?
Your dreams are in 5:4. We're talking about aspect ratios, not time signatures.
It's like, come on, we're on Twitch, people. Come on.
Right? I'm hip. I'm with it.
Yeah.
We're on the Twitch.
Why
now.
doesn't that count? 21-9. Oh god.
21-9.
This is just like the controller wars.
Yeah.
These 89 keys
It's
and
all-
the realistic touch and
Artisanal whalebone.
artisanal whale.
I didn't forget.
You didn't.
They're
Never
coming
gonna
for
let me
you.
live it down.
Mixing in
Splash blood on your
Atmos.
piano.
Oh gosh. I won't be surprised if I show up at NobCon and everyone's just throwing buckets of blood at me.
But it would be digital blood.
It
and
would. It would.
It would be artisanal.
It's it's emotes.
Digital blood.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
GIF GIF. Oh yeah, explain the GIF GIF.
Oh, I say GIF because.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
white. That's all.
So that's why
That's all.
that peanut butter jar comes on the screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I will die on this hill.
GIF.
I've said it a million times. The person who invented it says GIF. The guy who invented the format says choosy developers choose GIF when he created it for CompuServe.
Oh.
So I am saying it the way the person who created it says it.
I love that because now that leaves me with the question of who owns the language, the person who invented it or the people who are using it.
That's the real question.
Mm-hmm. These
That
are the
is-
deep
that
questions
is the
that we
real
have
question.
from using Twitch. Is, you know, just does the evolution of language make it now? It's got to be this.
Yeah, and I'm fine doing it. I'm fine being the guy that says GIF. I'll be that's just one of my little quirks.
I like it though because it's a very telling millennial characteristic.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I swear I come from a time where everyone said GIF and then they just all started saying GIF.
It's true. There was literally
I remember the GIF era.
there was just
I'll
a
validate
day.
your GIF.
Everyone said GIF until everyone was using them.
Right.
And I didn't
suddenly
know what they
GIF.
were because I didn't
I'm like,
know
are you-
GIFs
Are
until
you
they
trying
were
to tell me
GIFs.
that this service we use is called Giphy and not Jiffy? Because Jiffy makes a lot more sense.
You are blowing my mind right now because I've been very stubborn about the fact that I only knew it existed when someone called it a GIF, so I just don't want to get into it, right? And now you're making me realize that Jiffy just makes sense and I'm never going to be able to think of it differently now.
I'm glad I'm spreading it. I'm glad
Yeah,
I'm spreading the
You've
word.
done it.
All right, Moog or Moog?
Moog.
Me too.
Me too.
And again, that's because that's the way Bob Moog said it.
I guess we need to
It's
follow
I know
his,
this
it's
everybody
rule.
his,
else
it's
says-
his
I know
freaking
everybody
name.
else says Moog, but Bob Moog says Moog, so it's Moog.
Now, did I say Moog until I learned that his name was pronounced Moog? Yes.
Oh yeah, and do I constantly have to check myself and make sure I don't say Moog? Absolutely. But I say Moog.
I do.
I feel like I got over that like 15 years ago.
I do feel like I still have to tell my brain before I say it.
Hmm.
Yeah, those are hard habits to break.
Yeah. Cause it's like I always think of like the In the Moog for Love albums. You know, that
Right,
whole
or
era.
in the Moog for love.
Yeah.
They were wrong even back then.
Yeah, exactly.
The thing you do for love.
There were oh my gosh. Yeah, because there was like this whole like I love because that's like one of the main things people send us is album covers that have Moog on them from that era where it was like
Sure.
just like anybody can, make an album with the Moog
the
now.
Moog at home.
Yeah.
Christmas Moog.
Yeah.
Flag Day Moog.
Mhm.
Sousa Moog.
And it was always like trying to be
Hmm.
clever too. And so that gets sent to us a lot. So I think of it a lot. And a lot of them don't make sense if you say Moog right.
Moog Indigo by Jean-Jacques Paris sounds cooler. Moog. I
Moog,
think.
you think?
Yeah.
Moog, because it's mood indigo, so it's mood.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like
But
this
I think
really
it
is.
sounds
I
cooler.
blame this era of these records for why people think it's Moog.
My dad thought it was
Oh.
Moog, and that's why I
Yeah,
called it
everyone
Moog.
thought it was Moog. Everyone did.
Oh, I spent years.
Yeah.
That cover band, the Moog Cookbook? Great.
Yes, yes,
Great.
yes,
Moog,
yes.
Moog. I
Yes.
can't wait to get someday I'll own a Moog. And suddenly somebody says Moog, and you go, huh?
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 What's
And
that?
That's how it's
Moog
really
says Moog?
pronounced.
What I need to see is a GIF of a moke.
Okay.
There
Do
you
it.
go.
I'll do it.
A GIF. A GIF. Wait. A
GIF
GIF
of a
moog.
moog.
Oh, this is hurting my brain.
GIF of a moog.
A GIF of a moog or a GIF of a moog. Okay. Oh my goodness, that hurt because I realized because it is a thing where I do say GIF, so I'm gonna have to retrain.
Well, the thing is, most people say GIF. I'm definitely in the minority.
People will know what I'm talking about if I say GIF.
Yeah.
If I say GIF, they're gonna go, "You say it that way?"
Right. And then you're gonna have to go into a whole thing where you're like,
Actually,
I hate to break it to you.
I hate to be like the most annoying person in the room.
What's this guy's name? Yeah, Steve Wilhite says that it's pronounced GIF. He invented it. He actually won an award years ago before he passed away, and his acceptance speech was just a PowerPoint presentation that said it's pronounced GIF, J-I-F in quotes.
Oh, we have to.
I
we
think
have to
I
spread
saw
this.
that.
We
I
have
definitely
to.
saw that. Yeah, that's hilarious though.
We have to say GIF now in his honor. That's
R.I.P.
too epic. That is like let's own the libs with that kind of energy.
I've done my job.
That is amazing. But isn't there a story about the GIF was invented for a very specific reason, right?
That I don't know. I know
Okay.
it was invented by a developer at CompuServe.
Okay.
Middle out compression, brah.
I got that reference.
I love that you got it. That means a lot to us. I don't want to talk about it, but you know what it is.
Oh, I know what it is.
Okay, Danielle has some insight into this as well. That's the creator said it's all the programs that were antisocial gatekeepers and named things. Oh,
I thought that they just did it so that they could make the choosy developers choose GIF.
I love that. That's probably the best of those examples. The most sort of lighthearted of any of the ones you could think of. But I do like reminding us all that there was a gatekeeper energy around early personal computer developing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, the G stands for graphics. So you would say GIF.
I don't
See,
know,
this is a
Daniel,
never
why don't
ending.
you ask a giraffe?
This you had such a quick comeback, like you do this all the time.
It's almost as if I've done this.
It's almost as if this is all I do all day.
See, and if you start saying GIF, this is what you have to turn into.
This
And,
is what I'm saying.
I know that I'm not. I can't.
It's an
I don't have the.
This
fucks
is
to
who
give.
you are
I don't
to
have
me
the
now.
calories to burn. Like. So, but also, I mean, it's correct to say GIF.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, we can say whatever we want. Language is fake. Like you said, is it up to the creator, the people who are using it now? Like,
Yes, we could equate this to how we make music too. And I just want to say that I appreciate that Invalid Code Zero came first time chat just to say tomato, tomato. That pulled you out. I love it.
You say tomato, I say tomato. See, there's only one right.
See? It's Jim. Okay. I honestly appreciate though that you do lean into it and that you have the peanut butter jar because it's unforgettable at this point.
Anything I do, I'm going to do 100%. I can't do it any other way.
I mean,
I find that with people who are into circuit bending.
oh. I was like, wait, I can't detect.
No, because you don't just, if you're really into circuit bending, you're not going to just go, hey, I might break that open. You're going to fucking do it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're going to break it open. You're going to hit every single contact point on the inside twice. Like,
Yes.
You're going to waste a lot of time before you fry that thing.
Yep. Before you build up the courage to just touch the one you wanted to touch in the beginning that fries it.
Right.
Oh, yeah, no. You're going to go as long as you can. Oh, my goodness. Okay. I've hit my threshold of being able to be on stream. So I'm just going to say
All right.
that. I always
It's
say
been fun.
with
Time has flown by.
I know,
can't believe
dude.
We've been going for almost 3 hours.
like my body knows how long we've gone, but like my brain doesn't, so I'm having to like tell it. Like
Yeah.
it's okay that you feel kind of like you might need to go like have a meal or like drink some more water that
Right.
you've run out of.
that post-stream thing where your brain is dragging your body into the next room.
Yes. There is something about the fact that our brains are computers, and that like when we're on Twitch, you know, you're through the computer. There's like something where our brains get really happy. They're like, yes, this is exactly the speed I want to be operating at.
And then I know where we're reaching the limit, but that could get us into the whole like, are we living in a simulation thing, which comes up a lot on Twitch since like I could be an AI, you could be a couple of AIs, the chat could be AI, we could all be Truman Show.
Yes.
I don't know.
It's a thin veil, I think. This screen we're all looking at.
Yeah, this is like one of the first times where I feel like I didn't feel like I wasn't in a physical like person to person interaction. Like it was really you know, personal and fun, and just felt like I was like at a bar, you know, hanging out with you. So
thank you so much. Yeah, this is fun. I could do this all day.
Yeah, we love it. You're obviously a pro at these long streams. We're like, we took a break over the holidays and we're just like starting to ramp up again, and we like totally lost our stamina.
I have just gained my stamina. Usually I could only go for about 2 hours, but now after doing a 24-hour stream, I'm
you like hijacked you hijacked yourself by going too far.
I'm gonna stream after this.
You are? That's amazing. I want to like raid into you.
Yeah, let's raid into you.
I'm gonna go grab something to eat in between.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I'll be.
We'll check back with you.
Yeah, I'll be up at like probably around like 9:30 East Coast time.
Okay, cool. Yes, you are the real deal. That's what I was gonna say. Like it's obvious that everyone here already knows this, but we're obviously having the experience of getting to like share space with you, and you're like obviously the real deal.
Thanks. Yeah, I want everybody to come by. I really like sharing what I do and hanging out with a bunch of people who just want to talk about gear and music and the weirdness of life.
Yeah, it explains why like you were one of the first people we found on Twitch.
I love that I'm one of the first people we found. That's cool. Very flattering. That's cool. See, the algorithm's doing something, right?
This is why I say like the overlords aren't all bad, but we found you, and like exactly who you are and what you do just made us go, okay, we can do this. Like I don't know what it'll be, but like we're just gonna go try. Like it's okay to just be like in the studio. We don't need to have like, this is what we do, and this is how long, and you know, all of that stuff we thought we had to have figured
unpolished, unrefined diamonds in the rough. That's what the whole synth Twitch community is about.
Heck yeah. I love that.
Yeah, it fits perfect.
Yeah, and then we found out about the Golden Shrimp Guild way later, and then found out that you were part of that too. Like it was.
Yeah, if you find a synth streamer on Twitch, they're going to be part of the Golden Shrimp Guild.
Now I know that.
Please alert the guild immediately.
I know. I love that it's called a guild, because it definitely makes me feel like it's some sort of secret society that lives outside of time.
Yeah. It's a very non-secret society.
It is the most non-secret. We do not
units will capitulate. He knows.
Yes, beta units, welcome in. I didn't see you there. We are the Borg. Oh my gosh. Yeah, informality. That's the thing. It's like I still have to keep I know I said I was tired and I can't stop, but I said that because I have this problem where I can't stop. So I was trying to like.
Yeah. What kind of goodbye is it going to be tonight?
Very long. I have to keep reminding myself of that whole like Twitch. Just turn it on. Just turn on your stream.
Just do it, and then people will show up, and you'll do your thing.
It just becomes.
Maybe you'll talk to the abyss, and maybe you'll talk to 100 people. But either way, just do it. That's
what's so crazy about it, is that like we've had those like random raids where you're just like, what is happening? How is this real? Who are these people? Why are they here? How is this happening? And this would never happen in real life. Yeah. Yeah, you definitely wouldn't have a bunch of people leaving somebody else's show and have the band say, okay, all right, everybody, we're going to go next door to this other club and we're going to see this other band that's playing.
And actually pay attention.
You didn't buy tickets for this. You don't know what it is, but trust me, you're going to love it.
To the stuff that's being shown.
Sorry,
like so many times you're like, you know, if you're bar crawling or whatever, like you're just going to like get drunk, you know, like you're not.
Yeah, you're not going to interact with the band.
You know, you might hear like a little bit of like low pass filtered like. And that's it, you know, like.
That's such a good point.
I don't know beta units. My last raid, about half of the people made it through initially, but I got 2 different raid counts, so we'll find out.
Oh, was something not working with your raids?
Raids for the past maybe couple of days have only been taking a portion of the audience to the next location.
For you or for
Twitch
everyone?
being Twitch, it's fine. For
It's
everyone.
just Twitch. Okay. Yeah, I think I thought it was just me. Of course. I was like, well, I'm probably doing something wrong. It's obviously me. We should change our name. I've just been like in this weird spot of like, oh, it's obviously we're doing something. I didn't even think to like look it up.
Wait, we changed our name because there was a thing happening that happened to everybody?
It was the impetus, but it was needed anyway.
Nice.
That's good. It's good to be able to get the.
I think the is important. As a the.
We need to have a The Fest only streamers with the in their name.
I love it. Yeah.
I get so much shit for the, so I think there should be a the festival.
The Fest.
The Fest.
We'll make it happen.
Way earlier when we were talking about this, I forgot to say, Daniel pointed out that there's literally a band called The Band from the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a band from the 70s called The.
There is!
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh
totally.
My God, you're right. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. It worked for the Bard last night. Okay, cool. So they're on it. Twitch is on it, right? There's somebody running this thing, right?
Yeah.
Is it still just
has
Justin?
his finger on the trigger.
It's Justin. It's only Justin is running Twitch now.
Right. Get your act together, Justin.
Come on, Justin. Why are
he streamed so much he like got absorbed into the computer Tron style.
Oh, somebody brought up Tron earlier. That
now runs it from the.
He went full freakazoid.
The freakazoid zone, yeah.
Oh my gosh, Johnny Marr is in the. I didn't know that. Okay, there's so much I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, Justin just sits back and collects half those subscription. That's exactly right.
Yeah, right.
Got his Bezos payout. Oh my God. I need to know more. See, what has happened now is I've been hooked like I was with Real World with this Justin character. Like I need to know his story. Like I gotta know what's
the end of the Real World soon. So then you can move on to Justin TV.
Yeah, exactly. I'll almost I need some time to like sit with everything I've learned.
Yeah.
Before I take on a new project. Yeah, it is. It's honestly what's weird though is that they're doing these reunion versions. They started during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. So like they got the very first season back together and they got one of my personal we're gonna end, I swear to God. My personal favorite season was the next one they did, which was after they did LA. They did New York, LA, and then they did New Orleans, which was like way later. Mm-hmm. But if anyone wants to rewatch Real World, just watch the year 2000 New Orleans.
Okay.
The best season of Real World ever.
The peak Real World.
It's pretty classic, yeah.
Because it's the year 2000. They showed up for that not knowing if we were all still going to be here. They got cast in 1999. And they started in the year 2000 filming. And they all said they didn't know.
So funny in hindsight.
They didn't know if they were going to be able, like, if it was even going to happen. I love it. It cracks me up. It won't
stop happening.
Like, somebody thought we were going to unplug the world.
Y2K. Yeah, Y2K, baby.
I mean, I remember thinking it was going to happen, too.
I remember hoping it was
going to happen. I know, right?
I was ready for it.
I was young enough that I was like, this will be cool if it happens.
I was at a rave hoping it would happen. Yeah.
I was actually, true story, in my friend's van in a Sam Ash parking lot, hoping that the world would end and that all the doors would just open and we could go in and grab a bunch of
synthesizers. Like you were intentionally there for that reason?
We're like, it's going to happen.
The
whole world's going to go to hell.
That is so extreme.
We're going to loot the Sam Ash.
That's so awesome. Oh, man.
Oh, my God. That's so funny.
It's just so, like, I don't know, cute, actually, that you did that in a way.
I mean, I was still a kid, you know? It seemed like
it's kind of adorable.
Yapo was at a rave too, and he said that we did all die, and this is the simulation, so that's perfect because we talked about that.
This is better than the 90s were.
Definitely, we got the simulation we wanted, not the simulation we deserved. Oh man, yeah, we're gonna have you on again, just so we can.
Oh yeah, I'd love to be on again.
Get deep in the Y2K-ness of it all.
I can talk with you two about anything.
I know. It seems like there hasn't been a topic that's come up yet that we haven't been able to like sync up on. So that's pretty rad. Again,
that'll be the topic for next time. What can we disagree about and make everyone really uncomfortable?
Now it's a video game. I love it. A jam session. Yeah, we can try to use
Oh, if I could get
that
Ninjam
platform.
running, that
Ninjam.
could be. We could talk about that too.
We could talk about it. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if I could get it to work,
yeah.
make that happen.
We do have a MIDI synced setup, so we're prime.
Yeah, that's actually. I think we should talk about that next time because I feel like that's a whole thing I just want to get. So, Obama's Weed Man knows that we talk about the Irish goodbye, which people say is the thing where you just leave without saying goodbye.
That's more my goodbye.
And I have the opposite problem because I'm Italian. I have the Italian goodbye, which they threw out.
Get this. I'm half Greek, half Italian. So I'm equal parts, not half Greek, sorry, half Greek, half Irish.
Oh, okay.
Equal parts. I'm equal parts both.
Yes. I was going to say Greek, Italian.
Loudly slip out without telling you.
Loudly slip out. Yes. You get it.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh my God, I love it. That's right. They also call it the Midwestern. What I do is the Midwestern goodbye, but I like calling it the Italian goodbye. I think it's funnier. Because I'm not really
goodbye,
from
whatever you call it.
Yeah. No, that's perfect. I'm stealing that. I think that's so funny that you said that. Illuminated, see how I didn't see you in there. Okay, well, thank you all so much for being here. This is amazing.
Thank you all.
This was so fun. Like just so much interaction. Thank you for sharing your audience with us so we can all get to know each other.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Not just you, but like our audiences and our friends, like all hanging out, getting to know each other. This is so rad.
Yeah, it's
a really good time.
Yep. Oh, okay, Doey, you said the Midwestern goodbye is when you announce you need to go, get offered a beer, stay for a beer, hit your knee, say gotta go, get another beer, too drunk to drive, stay for the third, leave in the morning.
Spend the night. Yeah. Leave after lunch.
That's perfect. Slap's like, well, gotta go. Oh, I will stay for another.
Welp. I read the old dusty trail.
Amazing. I love it.
You keep changing what you're calling it. Yeah.
Oh, that's incredible. I didn't know that. That's really funny. I love all these different goodbyes. It's a culture. It's the anthropology.
Goodbye culture. We're into goodbye culture.
We're into. Okay.
It's like cancel culture, but nicer.
Exactly. We don't want them to feel bad that we're canceling them, so we're just calling it a goodbye.
It's not a permanent cancellation. Just we're canceling this conversation temporarily.
Yes, we need nuance in these conversations, right? All right, I'm gonna head out. Exactly. I love it. Thank you all so much. Thank you for being here, Mike. We got here. Let me throw your links one more time in the chat here.
Oh yeah.
Hopefully it'll work. Yes, it worked. Amazing. So everyone go follow and all the things. We did the links. We got to do the full shout out. Everybody, I'm sure. I mean, if you're here and you're not following the Twitch stream of Killer Bee Relay Team, like I really don't know what you're doing. So
get on the bus.
I imagine you are.
I can't force you to do it.
I don't want to insult you by saying that you need to follow because I know you already are, everyone. But I got to put it in there. But yeah, what a fun stream. What a fun hang. We love it. We love, just so inspiring and encouraging to, I think specifically just how you said that you really just let the experience of being on Twitch guide what you're doing. And I'm really going to take that with me from this.
Oh, thank you. That's great.
Sweet. All right. Well, we're going to find you later when you're streaming, everybody.
All right. Yeah. I'm just going to grab something to eat and then I will be online.
Yes. All right, everybody. Get ready. Get hydrated and get filled up with your calories so that you can hang for the stream. And we'll definitely have you on again. This is super fun.
So I look forward to it.
Awesome.
Woohoo.
See you later.
Later.
See ya. Bye, everybody.
I gotta manage my, not just how we say goodbye or how long or what we say to say goodbye, but how we transition between having our guest and not. So there's a lot to it.
For a second there, I thought it was 9:00.
We usually stream for an hour and a half. This was amazing. We really actually hit 3 hours. That is so amazing.
Oh.
Y'all are animals.
It was 9.
You're animals. Thank you all for the love. Let's find, I know we can't raid into, oh my gosh, this has been going the whole time. We can't raid into Killer Bee right now. I don't have the stamina. Yeah, thank you all for the gift subs. This is so rad. I love that, getting to know who is a Killer Bee, person, because I would consider myself one of them. And finding out who's watching him and bringing everybody together versus just, the general shrimp community. There's still little pockets for all of us, if you know what I mean.
Little pocket
So
somewhere.
let's see. Our stream. Oh, we're going to be doing Ambient Fam tomorrow. So you'll see our faces all weekend and hear our bloop bloops. So tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Eastern, tomorrow Friday, Ambient Fam Fest. So we'll be doing an hour of ambient synth and vocals and hanging out with you and rating, to the different ambient streamers. And
Getting in the mood. Saturday's
our movie night. So there's still time to vote. If you want to go in our Discord and vote for the movie, please do, because we have a tie right now we need to break.
Yeah.
And then Sunday we're doing a Shrimp Sunday stream. So we're gonna have two shrimp synth. I always mix them up. 2 synth streams. I love also people throwing out the whale references in the chat. Thank you so much. I'm obsessed with whales, and we posted a clip about playing music like whales this week, so I appreciate the feedback loop from that. So you'll get more whale sounds from us this week, tomorrow and Sunday and Saturday's movie night. So that's our stream schedule for this week, and I'm really stoked. And we're having a lot of fun in our Discord now that we understand how to use it, if you know what I mean. Sid streaming. We haven't raided into Sid in a really long time.
We were just talking about that.
That's so cool.
Yeah. It's good to see Sid.
So good to see Sid.
So good to see Sid.
Woohoo! So we'll yeah, dude. It was amazing to find out when we posted that clip about whales, because we're obviously obsessed, how many people were sending us their whale stuff. Their like synths trying to sound like whales, or them field recordings of whales. It was just like whale mania this week. I loved it. I'm like, ooh, this is really telling me what kind of stuff to post. If I want people to send me things. More whale content, please.
Yeah, I mean,
as you know, we love surfing, so we love the ocean. We love, whales and dolphins and weird deep sea stuff too.
They couldn't film Pipeline without showing a couple whale breaches.
Yeah, quick little throw out that Pipeline finished, and we know who the winners are, and we don't want to spoil it for you, even though we figure nobody here is watching surfing. But we have a channel in our Discord to talk about it if you want to. And it was really exciting,
but also pretty predictable.
It was cool though. No, it wasn't. The men's final was like the coolest, most epic thing.
No. I'm not talking about the actual match itself. I'm saying if you look at who won, there's not going to be, you're not going to be like,
no, there were no upsets, but there was like a really special final that happened.
Yeah,
that was
absolutely.
Really cool.
No, it was a sick Pipeline. But like, don't give me, I mean, I would never say anything bad about that anyway, but I'm just saying like the winners were people that I definitely expected to win.
4. This is what I need for my goodbyes. Okay, goodbye everyone. We have to raid now. We love you. It kicks you out if you don't press the button. I love it.